Everybody, meteorologist Hutch Johnson all set up, and it looks like we have a wet day ahead for many. Things are wrapping up in the central and western part of the Dakotas with round one of the storm system. We're going to go over the radar details. We're going to go over those road reports real quick to get you out the door, and we're going to let you know what's going to happen the rest of the day as more moisture will be pushing up from the south. The main event is just getting underway in southern Minnesota and up into the northern reaches of Minnesota. We're getting a little bit of snow falling as well. Hiya, if you're new to the channel, my name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and I've been forecasting the weather here in the Northern Plains, well, for the better part of the last 30 years. And this isn't the first time that we've seen winter weather make an April rebound here in the Northern Plains. That's what's going on. Let's get started with a look at what's going on the radar. If you like the video, press like. If you have a snowfall measurement that you can give me for your area, please comment in the section below. What is the amount of snow that you've had so far that you've measured, and then go ahead and let me know that location that you're letting me know the information from. So let's get started with a look at what's going on with the radar, and we'll go ahead and zoom in. And I do want to point out that we did have some snow falling overnight, and there's going to be some vastly differing totals across even short distances. Last night, I was just getting started with some snowfall here in Moorhead with just a dusting, and a friend called and said, hey, we've got an inch out in West Fargo area already. So yeah, we're going to have wide variety of measurements across the area. Notice Jamestown, you're on the leading edge, or the ending edge, if you will, of the winter weather event as it's working its way through. But this is lifting straight to the north, so it's going to be some time yet that we continue to get snowfall in Fargo and in places south towards Aberdeen and Sisseton. Watertown, a break for you with much more down to the south near Sioux Falls that's lifting up to the north and east as well. So we'll get to the details on that. Here is a look at what we have for snowfall totals so far. And people are just getting up and getting those reports into the National Weather Service, but it does give us an idea that we have a few places with over an inch reported, but a lot of blank spaces on the map. So your reports matter, and what you drop in the comments here, I'll make sure to get on to other folks out there as we go through. Now let's take a look at these reports and see. Now, because they're blue, they're not particularly heavy, and generally we do have along the North Dakota, South Dakota border, Lemon, South Dakota here reporting 4.5 inches. Hey Deb, good to have you on board. Thank you so very much. Spiritwood has had 2.55 inches already, so thank you for your report. I'll be passing that along to the National Weather Service. Bismarck is at 1.7 inches, so west of Fargo, Moorhead, some more sizable snowfall or slushy snowfall totals going on. Now, as we take a look out in Montana here, we do have some reports west of Billings that are pretty healthy at 6 inches, but we'll be getting more on the old map here as far as that goes. Now, what about your road conditions? Because overnight I was expecting some pretty significant icing. And if we review that radar one more time, and we're looking for the pink on the radar display, I'm going to pull up a different radar display so we can see it. A lot of color on here, but not far from Minneapolis, we're seeing the red. That's the winter storm warning that was in place for that particular locale. That does continue, so travel between Fargo and Minneapolis will deteriorate as you go toward Minneapolis. Here's that heavy band of snow lifting out of the Twin Cities and heading up toward Duluth. And I will share with you what's going on from the National Weather Service. Pardon me while I pull this page up and take a look. The National Weather Service in the Twin Cities, see what their reports are saying for the latest messages here. Ice measurement, there is some ice accumulation and accretion on things like trees in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and that is where there was an ice storm warning. Freezing rain track this morning, estimating a tenth of ice so far across the southern and eastern metro area of the Twin Cities. So you will be running into some icing going on there. Thanks, Deborah. I do appreciate your report very much, and thank you for sharing stars. Hi, Mike. Good to have you on board. Hutchinator is here to go. Now, this storm system is going to continue to snow, and we'll go over exactly how much I'm anticipating we'll get here as we go through the morning hours. But for Fargo, another 1 to 3 inches looks to be a good bet for snowfall in the additional forecast. I'll tell you why. Look what's going on. Aberdeen lifting north towards your area in Sisseton. If you happen to be in the Hecla area, it's going to be a heckla of a day. There, Ellendale, Oaks out towards Hankinson, and Lidgerwood going to see some of this heavier band lifting through as we go through your mid-morning hours. So let's get right to those road reports now. And as far as the icing is concerned, yes, we do have some of that making its way through portions of Minnesota now, from Red Wing, Owatonna, Rochester, and now Black River Falls, seeing some of that making its way through, and some, as you saw or heard moments ago, in the area of Wausau, seeing some pretty heavy icing taking place in that general area, and plenty of more moisture lifting up into the cold conditions here in the Northern Plains. Speaking of those cold conditions, we'll go ahead and pop up a quick look at temperatures this morning as we go through. So let me pull that up here. Pardon me. Okay, so temperatures are critical this time of year to tell us where we're going to get freezing rain. We got to have a frozen surface to see freezing rain take hold, and that's what we have here in and around the Twin Cities. So basically, the I-94 corridor and point south, plenty healthy enough for frozen surfaces. 30 degrees here as we cross into southern Minnesota, but still 34 in Sioux Falls. So the chances of a lot of icing going on in Sioux Falls are very low. And on the I-90 corridor, we have temperatures that are currently above freezing, which is a good sign for the moisture that's falling there. But from Minneapolis, you're right at the freezing mark there. 1/10 of an inch of ice as reported on area roads and surfaces there. And St. Cloud, I have not seen a report yet from that particular vicinity, but we'll keep you posted. So cold temperatures working their way through the region. Now we'll get back to that radar so I can pop that back up at a moment's notice here. Now let's go to those road reports real quickly, and then your forecast. More snow today, some sticky wet snow. We do have continued winter weather advisories going on across the region as well, and winter storm warnings, as we just saw some of the colors on the map. North Dakota roads look like this. From the Bismarck area, the blue means wet roads. As we zoom in just a little bit closer so you can see better with me, we have icy roads reported in yellow. I'll remind you that on the North Dakota map, the color tables are a little bit different. Turning on more snowplow cameras. Here's Minot, and when we take a look at the roads there, not as bad up there. So for those of you in the Minot area going down Highway 83 toward Lake Sakakawea, here's a front seat of a plow camera there, and that road surface looking pretty clean. The Bismarck-Mandan area was getting hit pretty good last night, and here is a look at a snowplow. It looks like on 1804 here as we go up the river valley, and we do have some snow on the side of the roads, but the road surface looking pretty good thanks to our crews for all their hard work. Right in town from the Capitol building itself, we're looking down on Bismarck-Mandan, and it's dark over there, but let's get down on the road surface on I-94. And you can see pretty thick, heavy, wet snow on the side of the road there. With about 1.7 inches or so reported. Now, as we cross into Stutsman County and Kidder County, let's take a look at the plows there. Increasing amounts is what I'm expecting to see as we go out towards the James River Valley, and that's what this plow is showing, a more healthy roadside amount of snow taking place there. Interstate 94 becoming icy around that Jamestown zone. That's what the report is from the DOT. Check out this view. So we certainly have some snow and ice on the road surface there. So if you are traveling over the interstate today across east-west bound North Dakota style on I-94, expect to run into some iciness, as is sometimes typically the case in and around Valley City to Jamestown. Here is that 18-wheel rig out there rolling the merch right across the region, and we definitely have some snow on the road surface there. So there are some icy conditions from the Highway 200 corridor through southeast parts of North Dakota. Now, speaking of southeast North Dakota, let's check in on Castleton. Here's Castleton, and this is what the interstate is looking like there. So just some accumulation on the grassy areas there that's a little heavier than what we have here in South Moorhead right now. And as we take a look at Moorhead, your commute, here's that tri-level, and let's see what's going on there. And again, some sticky, wet road conditions. So for those of you traveling through North Dakota, be cautious. There are some tricky conditions. South Dakota, the heaviest snowfall on the radar has appeared from north central to northeast parts of the state, and that's where we have the pink on the area roads. Now, these colors here, as I refresh my eyeballs, are scattered slippery spots and icy spots. So the pink means icy compared to the yellow, if you will, on the North Dakota map. Here is a look at Eureka, South Dakota, flying flakes, and the road surface there, a little difficult to see. But there it is, and it does have some iciness to the road surface there. That's what's being reported. I-29, let's get to a look at Watertown on the south side of this system. Certainly some sticky ice on the road surface there on Interstate 29. Going through Watertown. Sisseton, here's what we got for you, flying flakes. Look at the accumulation in and around the Sisseton Hills here on the interstate. That looks like, just by the visual we're getting there, a thicker, slushier mess ongoing in parts of South Dakota. So basically from north central to northeast, we have some icy road conditions. You get down south of Brookings right now, and that looks to be the wet zone where the roads are just reported to be wet. Here is that Brookings area now from Interstate 29. Minnesota, let's go over this. I-94 between the Fargo-Moorhead area and the Minneapolis area, and anywhere on this map that you see blue, it just means partially covered roads with snow and ice. And anywhere you see the pink here, those are areas that have some ice or completely covered roads. Here's 75 as we go through the Kent area, and it's completely covered with snow there. So that's a pretty significant impact there taking place with some icy conditions on the road surface on US 75 going north-south across western parts of Minnesota. How about Interstate 94? Let's get on the track here to the Twin Cities. I-94, this is a look at about the milepost number 25. So that's 25 miles to the east of the state line, and that is definitely taking on some snow right on the interstate. Fergus Falls zone, same thing goes here as we take a look at that interstate, showing that we do have some areas where, well, A, the snow is falling, and B, it is accumulating on the road surface, and there's at least some icy and slushy spots, to say the least. Lake Park Highway 10 corridor east of the Fargo-Moorhead area here as you're heading towards Detroit Lakes is going to be slushy and sticky in places there, with the look here showing that you're going to have some reduced visibility. Take it slow. Now, as you go north and south here, look at this, US 71, Lake Itasca. So this one did reach some pretty good snowfall amounts there on the north side of the system out there. That snow is going to continue because that band is pushing up in towards the Bemidji area, Clearwater County right here in this zone. So Lake Itasca, your region seeing some snow at least on the southern side of Beltrami County there. You get to the north side on the Highway 2 corridor, it looks pretty good until you get to Bemidji and towards generally the area here not far from Coalhasset. So as we go into that zone, you can see here certainly some snowfall there. Now getting back down towards the Brainerd Lakes area here, Staples, let's take a look at Motley Staples as we go down Highway 10. We're still seeing some sticky wet snow, but the road surface there has had at least a chance to have a few passes by our area road crews out there. Now, going back down toward the I-94 corridor, we showed you Fergus Falls moments ago. Here's Sauk Center, and it does look like on the road surface, not as much sticking on the road, but I can see that there are some sort of a film, or is some sort of a film of a slushy mess on the road there as well. So there has been some accumulation of snow in that particular zone, and it looks like between Wheaton here and Herman in Grant County, it's completely covered with a layer or concoction of snow and ice. So that's what's going on in our zone here. Get down to the Twin Cities, and if you are in Melrose, if you are in that area out of Sauk Center, that's pink, totally covered roads there, likely with some ice. Here's an asterisk which says we have an I-94 westbound crash on the interstate there as we're going through the area of Avon. So this area here at the Avon rest area showing that we do have some snow and slush on the roads, but it must be, well, impacting some of those road conditions a bit. Getting into the Twin Cities. Now, we did hear of the east and south side taking on some icing going on there. Here's a quick look. Let's go to the I-35 corridor on the south side of the Twin Cities here, and we see no snow accumulation there. It's all been rain and freezing rain there, so that's what's going on. And the good news is I'm not seeing a lot of asterisks in and around the metro area for that morning commute as far as the icing goes. So that's a look at those road conditions. Now a quick report on your forecast. So let's get right to the details with this. And first, I'm going to pull up a model and show you that the snowfall potential as we go through. This is high resolution. Hourly updating models are great, but the fact is we start these models off when we hit the go button every hour with estimated or modeled data. So that's not always the best way to start a model. We did have a weather balloon launch, and some of the 0Z models are coming in now for the morning here. So as those, those 12Z models will be coming in a little bit later, but they're just getting started. The balloon sounding happens at 7 a.m. So that's not coming in yet for a while, but we do have some 18Z model runs. Those have a little bit better consistency. So we'll take a look at those. As I told you last night, not a lot of new fresh data in the morning and until we get to about 9 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock. Here's the latest from the HRRR model. Let me just make sure that this is the latest. It is. Okay, so as we pop this puppy into motion here, you see that the band that's in southeast North Dakota continues as we go through the morning hours, and it continues on up into northern Minnesota. So here's Bemidji, here's the Red Lakes area, and then we could have a fairly healthy band working its way through, but here's the main event as you go through Minnesota. Notice we're snowing until about the midday hour or early afternoon in the Red River Valley, and this next batch of moisture that's down here near Omaha now will be sliding up the I-29 corridor, delivering an area of very heavy snow and accumulating sleet or freezing rain. Now, that's going to be followed up as this system lifts north. Watch, what is blue here stays blue, and what's pink stays pink. So that tells us that that zone where we're having that perfect temperature for the sleet is going to stay put. And look at this. You're looking at the Twin Cities, and you're looking at areas down here towards the I-90 corridor here, just north of, say, Sioux City, Iowa. So that is where things are going to have the best chance at seeing some icing. North of Sioux City, Iowa, and along and north of the I-90 corridor. I-90 should stay mainly rain with temperatures flirting with the freezing mark all day long. And then along that band of pink that you see there, some pretty heavy accumulation will be possible. So this model will be a good one for us to say how much additional snow will we get today over what you have on the ground right now. And this will give us a pretty good clue here as to what that's going to be potentially as much as. Look at this, Bemidji. Look at this, Park Rapids. Look at this, Walker. Oh my goodness, North Shore. Okay, so it does look like the brunt of the heavy snow potential is moving north of this zone here. Temperatures warm enough to see the snowfall melt pretty quickly in this zone of rain, but we're talking a quick ramping up from 1 to 3 inches to 3 to 7 inches as we go from Duluth, Cloquet, Hibbing, on up into Grand Rapids and Bemidji, Park Rapids area. This model says could be the big winner. I'll compare that with a couple of other models here just real quickly since we're looking at this all together. Here's a model that last night was looking pretty good, but it hasn't had an update since last night. So to get the additional snowfall, we're going to take this in 6-hour chunks. So let me explain what we're looking at here, the time, and I'll tell you the window of time that this is saying. The next 6 hours as we go in towards, let's see, this is by now. So here's going to be by the midday hour as we go from now to the midday, another inch or so in Fargo and Detroit Lakes. Gets a little bit more as we go out towards Wadena here with over 1 inch to 2 inches. Between, say, Bemidji, Park Rapids, this area here on this model showing that the additional snowfall now over between now and noon looks to be pretty good. Now, it's still going to be snowing in central Minnesota as we go through the next 6-hour chunk. So this 6-hour chunk is ending as we go to about 7 o'clock tonight. And here you go, Cloquet, Duluth area, as we'll see many areas in there still picking up in another 1 to 3 inches. But as you look up here towards the Bemidji area, we're starting to see things wrap up at Bemidji down into western Otter Tail County and Becker County and such. So there is the additional snow that's going to continue to fall today. And as far as the ice is concerned, all I can look at is the total ice accumulation. I'm going to go back to this model and show you that the total ice accumulation by the time we get to the Friday morning time frame, pardon my wandering eyeballs here while I load up the right. So here's very early Friday morning. We could have another batch of ice with the onset of the next system in western South Dakota. We'll talk about that one later today, and so make sure you're tuning in. And then as you take a look over here, that chance for additional ice today will be right near the metro area in the cities, and it looks like it could continue to dump accumulating sleet, accreting ice as we go through the day across parts of Wisconsin and southern Minnesota. So now I'm going to address some of your questions. I heard a few coming in, and thank you so very much for those. And I'll put the radar in the background here for us. I do got the Fargo report. This must be mine that I turned in. Thank you for your reports, by the way. Let me look those over and see if we've got a couple of more now while we have some time to interact here together on Hutch's Weather. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it two-way communication. Highway 281, Edgeley, nasty. That's that north-south route through the Edgeley area as you go up in towards Dickey and Lemoore County area zone. That's what we're talking about there. Okay, and as we take a look at the We got another Hutchinator here. Okay, so a lot of good mornings. Thanks for all of your stars. 2.55 inches Spiritwood, so a healthy amount of moisture there. That's much needed. We'll take it. Maybe an inch of snow in Brainerd so far. Terry, I appreciate that. And let's take a look at David. Thank you for your stars. Deborah, thank you for your stars. Good morning. Wayne, good morning. Mike, good morning. I hope everybody's commute to work goes well. And Terry, hearts go out to you there with your chemo treatment. I sure send a prayer your way. Nobody should have to deal with that. So you're a brave person. And keep up the good fight, my friend, okay? Because that's all anybody can do, and we're thinking about you here. Kayla, thanks. A dusting in Bemidji, 18 miles north of Bemidji. So you get north of Bemidji, not as much snow. I'll put that radar back up here as promised, and here it is. So the Bemidji area is right on the edge of the snow on this particular radar view here. It will refresh. I'll put the timeline up here as we cross into the close to 7 a.m. time frame as people are getting ready to ship out the door. I'll try to do my best to verbally describe this so you can continue to get your hairs in order and all of your things done this morning to get you out the door. Dustin, so you are saying I shouldn't drive from Castleton to Bemidji and back today? Question mark, ha ha. Well, what I am saying is it does look like that heavier band of snow now is really going to be an impact here from Bemidji down through Park Rapids and possibly into Pequot Lakes there and not far from Brainerd. So the route between here and there could be met with all kinds of things. We showed you a bunch of pictures of what the roads look like, and we're taking on some snow. It will be slushy. But as far as icy goes, this stuff will get colder throughout the day. We're talking 20s up north, and because of that, it's going to turn into more of a concrete icy concoction. So certainly slippery and icy roads along that route. This isn't going to be stopping level snow where nobody can commute at all. It's not going to be like 8 or 10 inches of nonsense out there for most of the area, but some will have a chance, isolated places, and it looks like the best chance might be here in that Park Rapids zone down towards Wadena, Pequot Lakes, and on towards Brainerd that might get some of the healthier mounts, and that will stay solid all the way through Duluth and the North Shore. So, Dustin, thank you very much. Travel safe, everybody. Sherry Minot, North Dakota, seeing a dusting so far, and the snow is all but done for this round for you. We have another round coming, and the models are just coming in with some data on that this morning. When I have that, I will pass that along to you. Central Wisconsin here have 30 to 32 degrees. Thank you, Kelly Smith, and let me know. Watch out for some of that ice that's taking place in your zone out here. Hayward and points south towards Prentice, Rice Lake. You're right on that zone here where we're seeing spooner flakes of snow. And then we got rain that we go down to the south, and temperatures hovering around that 30 to 32 range in central parts of the state, and northern parts of the state is where we're going to have the troubles. Some heavy bands of snow on the south shore here, Ashland, Apostle Islands, all the way out towards you folks in Superior, Wisconsin, going to see some as well. Friday, Valley City to the cities. Okay, so Friday, we get a little bit of a break. This system, as we just showed you the forecast, should be wrapping up from Valley City and Fargo as we go into the early afternoon hours. But it's going to continue down to the cities as we go into the evening hours tonight with more rain, freezing rain, and areas of snow. The Interstate 94 corridor is looking pretty, well, it's got some icy spots for sure between Fargo and the Twin Cities. So keep that in mind. But temperatures down south will actually have a chance to warm above freezing. So I'm thinking some of the ice going on in the cities down towards Rochester may have a slight chance of mediating a bit, meaning melting a bit. But if it's deep, it's going to be icy there all day. So please be cautious. First thing in the morning, temperatures are going to be hovering right around that 30-degree mark still in the area. So that means hopefully some areas of wet road, but you're going to have some challenging spots as well. Hey, Sherry Lynn, thanks for joining from Belcourt. Good to have you on board. Now, I am going to step away. I will be back with some regular updates, but I am going to leave my live feed going here with a look at the radar. So we'll go ahead and have the radar zipping around a zoom of a few views. I'm going to do some makeup work here. I'm going to dust up a couple of maps, and I'm going to go through your reports here and pass them along to the National Weather Service. And again, thank you so very, very much for your report from the Spiritwood area up there of 2.55 inches. And happy Easter to all of you. You know, I got to tell you what, it's a wonderful season. But weather-wise, we're going to have some challenges with the next system just now getting started out to the west. We already have winter storm warnings in Montana for that second system that will be working its way in. That begins Friday in the late day from west. And as we go into Friday night, it moves into the Dakotas and into Minnesota. And by the time we get to Saturday, it's going to be another wintry splash and dash system with some areas of freezing rain, some areas of snow, and some areas of ice. So that's what we're looking at there. 32 in Glencoe, BA. Good to have you on. 1.5 inches reported by Steve. Thank you for your report. This is in Millbank, South Dakota. Thank you for your South Dakota report. I appreciate that very much. This is what you're going to see as I go and take a break. I'll be back soon and I'll have an update for you right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather. And for those of you that are just joining, don't worry, we'll be back with more updates. You can also go to the channel and watch this from the beginning, but I'm going to let this one continue. We'll keep you posted right here. Snow continues through about the early afternoon hours in southeast North Dakota. It continues for the entire part of the day from central Minnesota on up toward the North Shore. And we will have more rain and freezing rain to contend with as this batch of moisture here lifts up into southern Minnesota throughout the day, changing into snow, ice, and some areas will be lucky enough to just see rain. I'll be back soon.
While Hutch prepares the next data sweep, check in from your...
Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson making a return here. Been busy updating some graphics, taking a closer look at that forecast for what additional snow we can expect. Huge amounts of rain now heading through the eastern portions of South Dakota into western Iowa and southern Minnesota. So we got a lot more going. Good morning, and Dave's 3016, good to have you on board. Thanks for all your reports. Let's go over what you're seeing on the radar, and we'll get you a quick update on roads before you head out to work. And thank you for the report. Just saw from one of you, Alan, thanks for the report from Bemidji. Snowing pretty good now in Bemidji, and we're seeing some reports starting to stream in, so let's get to the latest on those. I'll stop this from moving around too much. Fargo, 1-inch report. That's from yours truly here in South Moorhead. We do have a report here in West Fargo of 2 inches of snow, and I did get a report from you in Spiritwood. It's showing up right here now, 2.6. So you report to Hutch. I pass it along to the Weather Service. Shazam, boom, it shows up on the storm reports of the nation. So you can check it out on Hutch's Weather app, and you go to the snow reports. You're going to see your reports showing up there as I have time to input them there. It's how we all cover the weather together. Isn't it great? And thanks to each and every one of you for your reports today. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at a few more of these reports. Lisbon, we do have a report there of 1.6 inches. Let me pull this up so you can also read with me. Sorry about that. 1.6 from a cooperative observer out there. Getting into Minnesota, you get out towards Wadena. Here's Otter Tail, 1 inch there. And you know what? These aren't ridiculous amounts, but it's a slushy concoction out there with temperatures hovering near freezing, meaning they'll compact on area roads and be slippery in spots. 1.2. Brainerd area, 1 inch. That comes from you. Thanks. That was Nisswa, as a report of 1 inch in and around the Grand Rapids area was passed along here on Hutch's Weather. Pass that on, and a 1/2 inch in Bemidji. So they're showing up around the region. I did get a report of up to around 1/10 of an inch of ice going on in the Twin Cities now and the southern and eastern reaches, and also some ice reports coming in from Wisconsin. So east of Eau Claire out here, we do have a report of Dorchester of 2/10 of an inch. So a 1/4 inch of ice. We were talking about that last night. Significant icing going on there, and 1/10 reported at Brantwood out here. So central parts of Wisconsin, Stevens Point area, Spencer area, New London area, Oshkosh to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Well, it's the frozen tundra underneath ice, trapped under ice, as some would say, as we go through. So some slip, slide, and weather out there. La Crosse, Wisconsin, 2/10 of an inch out in La Crosse being reported right now as well. So numerous ice reports coming in from the storm system. The snowfall reports here. We got a couple more coming in from the Grand Forks area. These must be from my friends at the National Weather Service office and surrounds. 9/10 of an inch reported 1 mile northwest of Grand Forks from a co-op observer there, as well as 0.8 of an inch reported on the south side of town here. So looks like it's approaching 1 inch there, and it looks like Larimore out at 1.5 inches there. So as we take a look at what's going on the radar right now, we can see that the snow is all but done as we look in areas from Hillsboro out towards Jamestown. Just some minor snow. Now this whole band is going to be lifting north, but while the low moves east, it's going to carry this chance of snow off to the north and east. So I won't say you're completely done in Jamestown, but it is winding down. If you're in Bismarck, if you're in Minot, this storm system, this round is done. We have round number 2 on the way, and it's starting to take shape in the Rocky Mountain High of Montana and Wyoming. That storm system is going to be impacting us as we go into Friday night and Saturday. Winter storm warnings already hoisted. That one is going to be, it looks like to me, a potential for some heavier snow with that system as it makes its way through. So let me know if you have a question. Here is the map I updated for you as far as the additional snowfall goes. I will preface it by saying this. The weather balloons are launched worldwide at 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time. We take around the world actual real measurements from weather balloons, and we put it in as input into our computer programs that calculate changes in the atmosphere. So we won't have those models finishing up until closer to the midday hour. So as far as changes in the forecast, no matter where your source is, you're not going to see much except for this real-time coverage and what I call my nowcasting about where the heaviest snow is. Here's the blues focusing in on the Duluth area, Ashland, northern and western Wisconsin. This is the heavier band right now, but we do have another batch of moisture that's coming our way. So let's go ahead and pop up the forecast. Let me see if I can find one here. Okay, we're going to go down and I am just going to recreate another scene here, and let me go ahead and add. So there we go. Let's put this one up there. All right, here is Hutch's look at the additional snowfall that I'm expecting based on some model data. This is a little bit on the sketchy side with model data because any of these runs that happen between, let's say, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., where we're not launching weather balloons can be a little bit on the iffy side. So keep that in mind. But what we're looking at on the radar matches this pretty good. So I'm going to go with this. So between now, 7 in the morning, and about 10 o'clock tonight, here's where the additional snow looks to be falling. Now, as you take a closer look, Fargo sits on the line where we could see an additional couple of inches of snow. I wouldn't put it past this storm system now that we have a decent amount of snow coverage. We've got the band that's over us now, and it's expected to persist. And we could get another little band moving up from the south, pushing into southeast North Dakota and Lakes Country. So if you're in Otter Tail County, Pelican Rapids, Otter Tail City, as well as Fergus Falls out to the east, out towards, into Wadena County. So as you go out towards, say, Parker's Prairie and on up into Wadena, Staples, your area will see a chance for this 2 to 5. Now, the 5+ is really going to be reserved for areas up here. As you take a look from Brainerd all the way up towards the Duluth area, you'll have a chance at seeing the middle range and higher, 3 to 6+. So the North Shore particularly still seeing that potential for heavier snow up there. And as you go out towards Grand Rapids and Bemidji, you too could get into some heavier snow based on some of the model data that I was looking at with you earlier in my morning update. Surround this area, War Road, you'll have a chance at seeing up to around an inch of additional snow there, even though you've got very little on the ground. And that's what's going on with the snowfall report. Now, this is the onset of the next wave that is coming. So eastern Montana, from Glendive on your way to Sidney, Montana, and up towards Plentywood and Freud, and you folks in Brockton, Poplar, and Culbertson can expect a chance for some late day snow developing as well. Let's take a quick peek at those road conditions now for the morning, and then we'll go ahead and get you out the door here with what you need to know. Minnesota. This is where we have the biggest impacts in Minnesota, from central Minnesota toward the Twin Cities. Where you see the blue colors on this map, that's an area that we have that is partially covered with ice and or snow. And where you see the pinks, we have complete coverage with snow. And this area down here near Duluth, this is where some of the heavier bands are moving through right now. So let's go out towards the area of Duluth, Proctor. Here is a look at the Interstate 35 corridor. This is at Cody Street, so you can see that we definitely have some sticky and greasy roads there. And that's about the extent of the snow there. Now let's go right into Duluth. Look at this. Ooh, Blatnick Bridge, that's looking pretty dark and foggy there. So the foghorn just came out of Hutch's throat, and now let's take a look. US 53, we got some curvy roads there with a little bit of snow taking place in Duluth. So Duluth can be a little bit of a tricky mess when we get some icy roads on going on out there. Here's east of town, west of town rather, at Midway, I-35. So we're definitely seeing a little bit more accumulation in that part of the region there in that Duluth zone. So sticky roads in Duluth. As you're heading out here in the general direction of you folks out towards Grand Rapids, here's what we got going on. A report of an inch of snow and definitely some sticky conditions for you in northern Minnesota. So the Thunderbird country is looking pretty snowy out there as we sneak out towards Lake George. Look at this. Now this is taking place as we go out towards Lake Itasca, where I did get a report of some more significant snow starting to take place up there. And those folks in Bemidji also saying things are really starting to pick up in that zone there. So there is a look at that zone. Now let's zip down south, zippity-doo, because we're hearing from our Gull Lake neighbors down there, Pillager, Nisswa, of over an inch and a half of snow, and it's certainly a sticky, slushy mess there. So we're going to add more snow to this zone here from Grand Rapids through the Bemidji area as we go through the day, and you could see an additional, as Hutch has on the map, 2 to 5. We've got a Highway 210 crash between Brainerd and Pillager, so keep that in mind. Here's Motley as you go out there, and we can see the tall grass out there on the road surface, and there's a little bit of slush on the roads there. So nothing we haven't been through before, but it's kind of a slap in the face as we get started. Now here is a zone where we do have some reports of icing going on, or there are some ice reports. Let's take a look at the Interstate 35 corridor here. So this is Highway 35 or Interstate 35 northbound, southbound lanes, and it looks a little glazy, but temperatures are going to have a chance to get above freezing in this zone, and that could help with road conditions in southern Minnesota. Let's get you out a little closer to Rochester out here. We've got a big old purple area here, an eastbound crash, and it's causing some problems. So let's see if I can get more information on that to you here. It says between exit 233 and 244 in Winona County, Road 29. Look out for a crash. Expect 10-minute delays. The left lane is closed in the eastbound direction of travel. So there are some problems out there. That's in that area just north of Fremont and heading up south of St. Charles. So that's what's going on there. Here's Rochester, and what's going on there is definitely just some wet roads at this time, and no snow. And look at that, the grass actually looks green. Hutch color just a little jealous right there. So that's a look at Minnesota, where the problems are right now as we go down in towards that area of Millbank, South Dakota, southwest parts of Minnesota too. We're seeing some areas here near Hendricks that are calling for and talking about some ice as you get into the wind farm out in that general direction. And we got some completely covered roads out here near Ortonville. Look at this. So that's a pretty wintry concoction there in the Ortonville zone. Keep that in mind. Thanks so much for taking part in Hutch's Weather here, and thank you for sharing stars, Alyssa, and you're welcome, Patty, for keeping you updated. So thank you very much. And again, your reports are real helpful in a situation like this. I have yet to hear many reports from north central South Dakota, but we can take a look at your cameras in north central South Dakota because we do have some impacts there. Let's get on to that Highway 12 corridor. Here's just off to the west of Aberdeen. Look, I'd love to have some snowfall reports from this area. We can certainly see that it's piling up even on the road surface there. It's slushy and it's completely covering the road with what looks like about 2 inches at least of slush. So the snowfall to make that concoction pretty significant there, likely over 3 inches of snowfall to make that kind of a puddle of slush on the road surface. This is 1 mile north of Harriet, South Dakota, and those roads look icy. So any pink roads that you see here across South Dakota, icy roads, let's check in on Watertown now because we're starting to see that it's icy there. And indeed, we do have that, you can visibly see the ice on the road. So it's not black ice, but it's this sleet that probably fell and accumulated and snow getting compacted on the road surface going on in Watertown. Sisseton, I expect you to continue to see bands of snow persisting on and off. There's another band down by Brookings that will add insult to this injury. Look at that. Pretty crummy roads out there, but not closed or anything. So just take it slow. Make sure you're staying off of the old, what do you call that thing? The cruise control. Yes, the mind is wandering. Okay, now this is Millbank just to the east on US 12. So we've got some snowy roads there across South Dakota. And indeed, if you do have a report for me from north central South Dakota, Hutch will take it and pass it along to the Weather Service. Now let's go to the North Dakota roads for you. Anywhere you see yellow on the North Dakota map is icy roads. So that Minot zone, icy roads, all the way down to Lake Sakakawea. You get up north in the Newtown area and all the way up in towards the bridge here. This is the Four Bears Bridge. And look at the open water there on the big lake. So things opening up there, and definitely kind of schmucky looking skies, but some icy roads reported. For Bismarck, just off to the west, we have snow on the ground. The interstate looks to be in better shape and your conditions will improve. The snowfall is done for Bismarck. Jamestown, though, to Medina. So in western Stutsman County to central Stutsman County, that interstate's taken on some icy conditions. South of there, we do have some concerns as you get into Gackle Streeter area here. We have some snow accumulating on the road surface there as well. And as we check in on the Ashley area and out towards Wishick, look at this. This is Highway 11 out there, and it's completely caked in a layer of slipperiness going through. Castleton to Valley City, we got icy roads reported all the way through Barnes County. This is a look at Barnes County, and now going south of Fargo on the south side of town, this is what things are looking like when you just get out, heading out toward the South Dakota border. Getting into Richland County, here's the Morton exit, and that's looking a little bit on the caked side as well. We got a nice layer of frosting on our cake out there, the way it's looking. Lake Agassiz exit I-29 there looking a little bit snowy as well. So that's a look at your road conditions in our area. Now let's go out to Wisconsin, because I know I'm getting reports from you about some slippery ice, and we've gotten reports of a 1/4 inch of ice in and around that Wausau area in the central part of the state. You guys got picked on big time by the last winter weather system making its way through. Now the pink would be completely covered road surfaces. So as you get closer to the North Shore, we have completely covered road surfaces there. Let's see if I can turn on a camera or two. They are turned on. I'm just not seeing very many. You can see so not as many cameras on the network here. Let's go to Wausau in this general zone here, and we do have some reports of some consistent reports of 1/10 to 2/10 of an ice reported in Wisconsin. You can see there it's going to be slow and go through central Wisconsin. As you get out a little closer to the Twin Cities, let's see if we can get a camera in here. We do have that on the interstate corridor out here. Let's go out towards Rusk. Let's get out towards Eau Claire and look at the ice on this camera lens. That tells the whole story right there. So this is US 53 at US 12 in Wisconsin, in Eau Claire, and that is where we do have some pretty thick ice going through that general vicinity. Sneaking out toward the Hudson area east, that stream is not available. Let's go a little farther east yet, and here we go. So we definitely do have some slippery and wet looking roads out there in the east side of the metro area of the Twin Cities crossing into Wisconsin. As you get into central Wisconsin, that ice potential increases, and the amount of ice on the road surface there definitely more. Look at this, I-94 and County B in Wisconsin, and that is looking pretty tough out there for your particular area. So that is a look. I'm going to put the music up here. I still want to see if you have any information for me. I'm looking over your reports here. So if you do have some, Christine, thanks for the stars. Thank you very much. Alyssa as well. Thank you for sharing those stars with Hutch and for your reports. I'll pass them along. For now, what you're looking at is the radar here, and I will keep you updated as we go through the morning hours. I will likely end this stream after a while, but for right now, I'm going to put it back up, and I do plan to be back with another update as I update some of your snowfall reports. And again, if you head to hutchesweather.com, let's go right to the website together, and you can visit this on your phone while I'm visiting with you here. So check this out, or go to my app. And if you haven't downloaded my new app yet, please take a moment and check it out. So here is hutchesweather.com. So I'll show you what's going on. You can get to your road reports brought to you by my friends at OK Tire for the conditions that we just went over. Hi, Dan T. How much snow now from 7:45 a.m. until the end of the day in Sartell? So that is a look at the Sartell area is going to see a chance for some accumulation of snow. Let me get back to you on that. I want to finish my thought here. On hutchesweather.com, if you go up to the top, you're going to see snow amounts or snowfall reports. If you scroll down on my app, you're going to see snowfall reports, snow reports. You click on those puppies and you're going to get your reports. So I do pass your information along to the National Weather Service, and all the reports you've been giving me are showing up right here. So we're a team. All of us are a team, and we need you, and your reports do help us know what the storm is producing. Generally, as we look across our region, I'm seeing snow reports in Lemon, South Dakota of 4.5 inches, 1.7 inches Bismarck. Fargo, a report of 2 inches out in West Fargo. It's likely my friend there. Thanks for reporting. 1.5 inches in Larimore, 1.6 inches Lisbon, 2.6 Spiritwood. Thank you for your report very much. 1 inch in Nisswa. Thank you for your report right here on Hutch's Weather. 1.2 in Deer Creek. Thank you for your report from the observer there. And Grand Rapids, thank you for your report. 1 inch reported here. So we could really use a little bit more in north central parts of South Dakota, and the snow will continue for today. I'll have a forecast update at icy in Afton, Minnesota. And now I'm going to put up the radar behind me while I address the question going on here. Looking at some more reports. Oh, it looks like Pierre coming in with the report as well. Let me show you that. Okay, so near Pierre, just to the south, as you get a little closer to the I-90 corridor, we got 2 inch report out there. So none of this is earth-shattering news as far as the snowfall amounts at this particular time. Here's a 2.1 report, and this is in and around Brown County, South Dakota, right here, just off to the east of Aberdeen. And it looks like I got one that's come in here. 3 inches at Dickey. So in Dickey, North Dakota, a 3 inch report out there, and taking you in. So we did get some heavier snowfall right there along the North Dakota, South Dakota border. And guess what? The flakes are still flying out there for you. So the question was, as I do a little bit of research here, because I got to pull up my forecast map. Okay, let's see. All right, so when we get into, here we go. Right now, your Sartell area is in a heck of a break of the storm system. So you got that going on right now. You're going to have a chance to quiet down. What that can do is allow, even if temperatures hover around 32, some of our road surfaces to get cleaned off by our awesome DOT crews. So thanks to all of you for your efforts during these storms. Anytime we need you, you get out there and you start rolling. So we do have this next batch of moisture that's going to be moving up to the north. Now, just to illustrate and answer your question in a more complete fashion, I'll put up the latest model. This model now is just updated. Let me go to the latest one here. And the thing is, with these models that update every hour, they change every hour, and they're initiated off of data that's not from weather balloons. So a lot of times we start out estimating numbers in the atmosphere. That's not always the best way to do things, because those estimates can be off, and that only compounds our errors later. So the moisture that we see moving out of the Sioux City, Iowa area and pushing into southern Minnesota is lifting northward. So that's going to reinvigorate our chances of ice going into the mid-morning hour and into the midday hour. So we'll have this ice band taking place here. And then everything kind of fills in your area. Now, if you do look at Sartell and St. Cloud as you're going up the interstate corridor, here's from the Ramsey County area and the Twin Cities, you're going to be in this icing and sleet zone, but also snow. So you'll have a chance at seeing some snow making its way through. Look at this, and it gets kind of heavy. So there is a band as we go through the midday hour. We're talking about noon until about 4 p.m. where things get pretty rough. That's that commute time home. So if you're in Sartell, if you are in Little Falls, if you're in the Brainerd Lakes area, all the way up toward Duluth, we're going to have a narrow band of sleet, kind of ice balls, and then we're also going to have a chance for some freezing rain and heavy band of snow. It looks like a very narrow band right on this high resolution model that we see here. And because of that could rapidly accumulate at a rate of 1 to 2 inches of snow per hour. And that kind of stays over central Minnesota and your area here in Sartell, St. Cloud, Sauk Center, until we get all the way into the evening hours. Look at that. And it's still snowing. Okay, so finally ending up by the time we get to 05Z, subtract 5 from that, that's 00, that's That's midnight. Okay, so there's your midnight time frame. So until the clock strikes midnight, something bad happens, and it looks like a pretty good dose. Now, if you go back to Hutch's weather forecast here for the area, let me get that back up. This is additional snow between now and about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. That's a pretty good time frame. And notice right here on this area north of the cities, here's your area. This model's calling for around 2 inches, so I think that's pretty fair. I've got a ½ inch to 1+ in this area, and then I got 2 to 5 inches. So St. Cloud, likely an additional 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. You get up to Brainerd and Bemidji and places between Mille Lacs and on in towards Cloquet and Duluth and the North Shore. We're talking about the serious snow coming in there. Dan T, thank you very much. I appreciate your question. You're all a part of the forecast here. So Icy Afton, thank you very much. I hear some more stars coming in. Thank you for your sharing of stars and your support of Hutch's weather. And by the way, VFR, Dana says not recommended. Yes, you definitely want to have your instrument rating if you're going to go piloting out and around the region today, because those clouds are low. And we got snow here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. It's kind of a snow globe style snow. It's wet. It's really not accumulating on things like the grass it is, and in the roads we're still a little bit in better shape in Fargo, as you saw on the camera swinging around. Snowing in Bemidji. Thanks, Joanne. I do appreciate your report there. Thank you so much. That's what I'm hearing now with regards to the storm system as it works its way through. And now let's take a look at one more thing before we get going on here, and that's going to be your temperatures today playing a big role. Temperatures hovering around or just below freezing in most of North Dakota. And I don't think we're going to have too much more additional snow anywhere west of, say, Medina and Jamestown as we go through the remainder of the day. So what's on the ground there, even with some breaks in the cloud cover, will give you a chance to take a look at some, warming road surfaces. So for that cloud cover, we can see here as this loads up and sets into motion and the sun starts rising on our day, that edge of the clouds right here in western North Dakota, you're going to have some breaks in the clouds out there as well. And that means maybe a chance to briefly warm up in between systems. You can see the main event, the main low pressure system lifting out of Nebraska, and that's that very heavy area of rain lifting through Iowa and into southern Minnesota, those thick water heavy clouds, if you will, working their way through. And on the edge here, when we mix the cold air with what's going on there, we're going to see that increased chance at seeing that brief heavy band of snow work its way through. A closer look at a couple of those temperatures now, then 30 as we roll out the door this morning, and 29 in Fargo, 31 for Bismarck. And then as we go out to the east just a bit across Minnesota, we're talking about temperatures down south that we already know, as we talked about, are just at or above freezing here on the state line. And then as you go north, it's a little bit colder. So when temperatures are flirting with that, we're talking about some significant icing potential throughout the day. We could get a break here, and we're getting a break in that St. Cloud area where temperatures are a little bit warmer and the roads can get a chance to rebound. But then that next wave of moisture that is now crossing out of Iowa is heading our way. And with temperatures above the ground cold enough for snowflakes and ice, it's going to be another slap of wintry concoction over the roads. So now let's take a look. I see your question, Heidi. I will address it here in just 1 second. The afternoon temperatures warm up into the 30s, above freezing in Fargo. So icy roads have a chance to melt, especially with our DOT crews working them over and getting that stuff off the road surfaces as we go. Temperatures in the 40s means we'll have wet roads out in western North Dakota. Next low pressure system right behind Hutch here on the backside. That one's going to deliver a big punch as we go through. And then here is a look at what's going on with the rest of the day. Snow, Brainerd, all the way up to Bemidji and up into the Arrowhead. We will get some snow the way it looks now from Grand Forks, Thief River, all the way out into parts of Monoma County, Otter Tail County will continue to see that snow. Now, Heidi's question, how about the wind with that 2 to 5 inches? So let's go over that real quickly. That's a wonderful question. And I mentioned the last couple of days, I'm not expecting buckets of wind with this, but let's go through it. We'll pull up the model here. And what I can do on this particular model is show you a look at wind speeds. Here's the Ooh, the 12Z's coming in. So what does that mean? That means the weather balloons we launched at 7 are, all the data is coming in now. It's been an hour. Believe it or not, it takes those weather balloons about an hour to reach about 10 miles up in the atmosphere. Then the balloon pops and it comes down. So it takes an hour to collect the data, and then we press the go button on the models, and they're just now starting to come in. So that'll be your next update coming up. But let's go ahead and take a look at the wind speeds that we're expecting as we go through our day here. And this will be wind gusts, okay? So what you're seeing plotted here are strongest wind gusts in Montana as we go through the morning hours. And now as we get into the midday hour, when that next wave of snow starts coming in, here in eastern North Dakota, that low pressure system is exiting off to the east. North Shore, nothing to stop those winds coming off Lake Superior up here on the North Shore. So we're talking about doggone winter storm conditions, 40-mile-per-hour winds, driven snow, not fun to drive in that particular zone. Some gusts up here in the Arrowhead of Minnesota, over 30 miles per hour. So you folks in Hibbing, Grand Rapids will have more wind than we have here in the Fargo area. Lakes country, as you get into places like Twin Valley, Heidi, and these areas here on 32, we're talking winds about gusting up to 20 to 25 miles per hour as we go through your afternoon hours. I'll back this up a few hours here. So here it is, morning time. Gusts of wind could be as high as 25, decreasing as we go into the afternoon when the main event. Look at this. 40, 45 mile per hour gusts over the lake there. That's going to create some waves, won't it? I'll tell you what it will. And then you can see behind me that the next system starts increasing in intensity. Look at Wyoming out there. Ripping winds start with that system as it works its way through parts of the south. I'll have more details on that second wave when we get to the afternoon, as we get the new model data that's coming in right now and we have a chance to go over it. I'm getting some more ice reports, so let me pass those along to you, and then we will continue with Hutch's Weather right here with your questions and feedback and reports. All of it's very important. Spark Fuzz, thanks Hutch. You going to touch on the next storm system coming through, or is that for a later update? I will touch on it since you asked, but first let's go over what's going on here with regards to the radar. I'm getting some ice reports, so I want to pass those along as they come in. Number one, south of Duluth, we got some reports here as we go in towards areas near the I-35 corridor. So we're getting reports of 1/10 of an inch of ice or freezing rain on both sides of the state line here from around Sandstone to Spooner, Wisconsin. So keep that in mind. The Brainerd Lakes area, Nisswa reporting some snow. I'm not seeing a lot of ice reports coming in from the Twin Cities other than what I saw on the Twin Cities National Weather Service page, that they're hearing of about 1/10 of an inch of ice. 2/10 of an inch of ice in La Crosse, Wisconsin coming in. And here's some more snow reports coming in from northeast South Dakota. 1.8 in Rossland. And as we go to Britain, 2.8 inches for Britain, South Dakota. 2.1 inches as we look off to the southwest in Claremont, and north of Aberdeen, Westport, 2.5 inches of snow. And here's the 3-incher in that Dickey area. And then Linton coming in with 2.8 inches. A couple more in and around the Fargo-Moorhead area here. It looks like we've got 1 inch here in South Moorhead at Hutch's Weather, and 2 inches on the west side of West Fargo out there as we take a look. So that's a look at some of the snowfall reports. 1.2 inches Deer Creek. I think we went over that. I'll show you the most recent model that I have for that second storm, Spark Fuzz. Let's go through that right now. Thank you for your question. I do appreciate it, and I'm always willing to try my best to go through it. I'm going to focus on just the Northern Plains, and I'm going to look at the European model, but I want to make sure I'm using the right one. So let me get to the 816Z. Okay, yeah, okay, so 6Z, pardon me. Okay, so this is one of those runs that's initiated that not off of weather balloon data, okay? So I will put that in as a concern of mine with its accuracy. These I call them mid-sounding launches or model runs don't always start off with the best set of data. So sometimes we see them being a little less consistent. Okay, here we go. Storm system, Friday morning. This is going to be at about 10 a.m. Central Time. 10 a.m. Central Time, big time strong low pressure system, Black Hills, Hot Springs, South Dakota. East winds will be very gusty on the north side of the system close to the low, but as you go into North Dakota, those isobars get far apart. Not a lot of wind, but look at the bands of snow with this. Heavy lift. Now this low, the last couple of runs, has spread out east to west. In other words, we are stretching that energy out over a wide space. That tends to draw the system out a little bit, but it's going to have two distinct centers of activity move through. This is the first wave setting up Bismarck, Dickinson. If you're down here in Hettinger, Lemon, Rame, that area will see some snow. That lifts up through Scranton all the way up in towards areas, all the way up and towards Billings and Golden Valley County, North Dakota. Beach, it will be no beach. Leave the beach towel at home. Get the shovel. It's going to be needed. This is going to be snowblower worthy snow the way it looks to Hutch. Now this is lasting all the way through Friday for western and central North Dakota. It has not started in the eastern Dakotas yet. Minnesota's whistling Dixie, and things are looking good in between storm systems for much of Friday, giving us a chance to rebound. And in fact, this shows thunderstorm potential in parts of southern Minnesota, in the eastern quadrant, as well as eastern and northern Iowa. Now, as we go through, these storms are going to cause severe weather in the Central Plains. You're going to hear about that as well. Boom. As we go into the evening hours after dinner, so about 5 to 7 o'clock, then the flakes start hitting the fan. And the wind is going to be more northerly here. And this is going to be what we call, it looks like we got a trough of warm air aloft here, folks. And that's going to really, this inverted trough here is going to add to the ramp or the lifting that goes on right over this particular area. And look out for a band of super heavy, rapidly accumulating snow. Now, my gut was saying that this storm system would take a little bit farther track, but it does not look so. It looks like this model, the European, is holding on to this northern track to the storm. Much of North Dakota impacted, most of northern South Dakota impacted as we go through the day on Friday. Now, as we start our Saturday morning out, Fargo's already going to have a fair amount of snow on the ground by first thing in the morning. This is 7 a.m. and it's still snowing heavy after snowing most of the overnight hours. So again, it doesn't start in Fargo until we get to the evening on Friday. This is dinner time, 7 p.m. Friday. You want to be where you're going to be in the Fargo area, Grand Forks area. Heavy snow will be making its way in and persist through the overnight. We wake, it's still snowing. Some bands could still be heavy. Most of northern Minnesota seeing the effect of this storm. We will have areas of icing potential, thunderstorm potential. This looks like warm front activity here. These could be spinning storms too. Let's keep that in mind. So as we go into the afternoon of Saturday, we could have severe weather in Wisconsin, but even a better chance as you go south of there into places like Indiana and Illinois. Now, as you look out here, big time snow potential with this system on the second wave. What's it mean for snow? Let's go to it. And again, I am putting this out there not as my forecast, but as a heads up to the potential this second system has. I'm looking at 24-hour increments of snow here, so it kind of jumps and lurches. This storm starts on Friday morning. So from Friday morning to Saturday morning at 7 a.m., the snow will be in western North Dakota. The European model is saying 6 to 10 inches. These global models tend to overblow the size and aerial coverage of the snow and the amount of the snow. But let's suffice it to say we could have several areas getting a very good chance at 4 to 6 inches of snow, with isolated places getting even more. Now, as we wander through time to the next 24-hour period, that's when it focuses on the Red River Valley and parts of Minnesota. So for Fargo and eastern North Dakota, this storm's impacts will be felt most by the time we get to Saturday evening, dinner time. So from Friday night at dinner time to Saturday night at dinner time, most of the snow will have fallen. Notice a little bite taken out of the storm here in the Red River Valley counties of North Dakota and Minnesota, but we do see enhanced amounts in the Devil's Lake Basin and northern parts of Minnesota, getting a slap in the face really from old Jack Frost. Look at that. Definitely a chance for several inches of snow the way it looks. This includes Bemidji. This includes you folks in Hubbard County and Park Rapids. There's Wadena. And again, St. Cloud in this system, you're right on the edge, but that does mean some snowy conditions. This storm continues into Sunday for some of you out towards Wisconsin. So that's a quick look at the very latest on that, Spark Fuzz. Thank you very much. Britt, will Dickinson get a lot of snow? In the second storm, yes. It looks like boom, Dickinson down towards you folks in Hettinger. If you're in Bowman, if you're in the area down here by Rame, all of these areas having a decent chance. And this includes Grant County, Sioux County, Morton County here, New Salem, Sioux. You might want to put your cattle inside, but New Salem Sioux doesn't have a barn, so New Salem Sioux is on her own during this storm system. Spark Fuzz, thanks for the question, and you're welcome. Brit 1010, thanks for joining. James, thank you for your stars. Heidi Lynn, I talked about the wind. Joanne, thank you for your stars, and thanks a lot for watching Hutch's Weather. I will be back with an update. You're watching Hutch's Weather. If you're just joining, frequent updates right here. I'm going to leave the stream live for a while. This will end a little later today, but not now. We're going to keep you covered here as reports keep coming in for this system. And model data is just now coming in. So before I end this stream, you will get the latest forecast. No one will have a forecast that has any better model data even at 10 o'clock tonight, because the next one doesn't come out until about 11 o'clock tonight. So we're going to get that to you first, and you're going to get it right here on Hutch's Weather. Thanks for watching. Thanks for traveling safe today, and I'll keep you up to date with a scan of the radar and other information. And hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. We'll get caught up on the radar. We have a lot more ice reports coming in and snowfall reports from across the region. We'll go over those real quick, but we're going to start with those road conditions rapidly changing throughout the day. I encourage everybody to make sure before you travel, you check my app, hutchesweather.com. The website as well has this information available to you. The OK Tire Store road report for Minnesota. Pardon me. So here's what we got going on. As we take a peek at the areas of pink roads here, those are completely covered with ice. The rest of the area in blue, partially covered with ice and snow, by the way. Now we're getting reports that the snow is just getting rocking in parts like Bemidji. And we're up a solid another inch here in the Fargo-Moorhead area, as that snow has been pretty persistent. So here's a look at the Solway area on Highway 2. That's picking up some precipitous precipitation right now as it works its way through parts of northern Minnesota right now. How far does it go? Let's go on up into that Kelleher area, Shooks, and yes, we have snow and wind and pillow drifts taking place there. So northern Minnesota is starting to get into the action as we get through the early hours of our day. Now, I-94 showing to be completely covered with snow and ice. Here's I-94 off to the east of the Fargo area. And as we go out to a little bit farther to the east still, we're still seeing the areas of some significant snow all the way down through around the Fergus zone. Now you can see Fergus Falls here with reduced visibility, but a thin layer on the actual asphalt out there taking place as you go through the morning time. Now Sauk Center, St. Cloud area, we got a crash reported here on Minnesota 28. You go to the Interstate 94 corridor and we have some ice on the road there, so be cautious traveling in toward the Twin Cities. And then down south of the cities and down south of, say, Sauk Rapids here, we're seeing some wet roads and some snow accumulation on the grassy areas there taking place as you look in that general vicinity. So definitely there's plenty going on here across the region as we go through Minnesota. Again, south of the Twin Cities and east of the Twin Cities, we have some areas here where we're getting some ice reports of around 1/10 of an inch. And oh boy, that camera looks to be offline. I picked the wrong one. Let's go on the east side of the metro area here. So this is looking like it's just wet and rain going on there right now, but we do have some areas that did ice up. It's really icy though as we go into Wisconsin, where we have 1 2/10 of an inch reported icing going on out there. Now, where you see the pinks on this map, completely covered roads, blue is the partially covered roads, but reports of 1 2/10 of an inch of ice not far from the Wausau area. So here's a look at some of the conditions there. And again, it's very icy throughout parts of Wisconsin now, with that freezing rain continuing to hit that corridor. In North Dakota, the snow picking up in the Fargo area and looking all the way up to the north near the Grand Forks zone. We're starting to get some snowfall reports there. We'll go over those snowfall reports here right quick. But now we're taking a look at Grand Forks. Here is the Interstate 29 corridor making its way north-south, and definitely looks like there's a little bit of snow on the grassy areas there in the Forks. Now as we go out towards Jamestown on Interstate 94, the snowfall accumulation there is slowing down a little bit, and actually we're starting to see the roads become a little wet again. There will be icy spots. It's reported to be icy Jamestown to Valley City. Here's near Valley City as we take a look at your road conditions. Similarly, we still have some snowfall expected in Barnes County. see the Highway 200 corridor. Let's get up there. Here's the Glenfield area. There is some coverage on that road thoroughfare. And now Fargo, Moorhead, and Castleton. So as we go into Castleton here in Cass County, we do have some snow, ice, and that's going to continue for some time yet as we take a look at what's going on the east side of the Fargo area. And there is a look at the snow in the city. So slower travel today, but again, it could be worse. We've seen worse, but boy, this is a slap in the face for our spring conditions. Here is a look at what's going on as we look out at Morton on I-29 down toward the South Dakota border. And South Dakota finally getting a few snow reports in your area to help fill in the gaps here, and that's wonderful. So thank you so very, very much for your snow reports. Drop a comment here and let me know as we go through our broadcast here into the afternoon hours what you're seeing. But now check it out. Look at Mountain City. Here is a look at the snowfall there at the North Dakota border. And we do have snow on the road side and ice reported on the road surface. Now, as we get out a little closer to Aberdeen, the snowfall, it looks to be much heavier there as we see that there's quite a considerable amount on numerous roads out there of basically slushy snow working its way through. Watertown, South Dakota on the I-29 corridor. That road is coated in ice. So keep in mind we have snow on the side of the road and ice on the road surface. As we go up towards Sisseton and Victor, South Dakota, things there starting to show a little bit more improvement over what we saw earlier in the day with maybe a little bit of a break in the radar activity. Now, there is new model data coming out right now. Sean, thanks for joining. Coming down decent in Bemidji. Thank you for your report. I do appreciate that. You're not the only one with that report. That is amazing. That we're getting so many. It does help us fill in the gaps. So let's go ahead and take a look at that radar. Here we go. I'll stop it from moving around so much here, and we'll just zip around and show you that as we take a look, the snow is all but ended in Bismarck. The snowfall reports in and around the Bismarck area just south of town. 2.8 inches in Hazelton, so Emmons County picking up a fair dose. Stark County near South Hart, beautiful South Hart, 3 inches of snow there out in western North Dakota. Pierre, South Dakota and Point South, a solid 1 to 2 inches of slushy nonsense going on there. Now in the Aberdeen zone, this is where we filled in the gap. Look at this. 3 inches reported in and around Dickey by the emergency manager there. Brown County, Westport picking up 2.5 inches. So that seems to be a pretty solid amount in that area. 2 inches in Claremont, Britain, South Dakota, 2.8 inches for that area. And then out towards Millbank, we have a report of 2 inches. And here is a look at, well, Roberts, South Dakota, and 2 inches of snow for your area as well. Now, as we get into eastern Otter Tail County, 1.2 inches into that Deer Creek area. Then Little Falls chiming in with 1.4 inches as we sneak out towards the Twin Cities. St. Cloud picking up 1.1 inches and 2.1 inches in Benton. Are you done? No. So here's a Moose Lake report of 3 inches. So it really did pick up as this system moved into Duluth. And that's what's going on now. And that's heavier band of snow pushing into the Duluth Superior area. 1 inch of snow there. And that is a look at what's going on out near Bemidji. In the Turtle River area, 1/2 inch was reported there. Let me see what time that came in, 7 a.m. And it's picked up since then, so a couple more hours of snow accumulation going on. So again, a look at the radar, you could see this next batch of heavy precipitation pushing in from the south. Sioux Falls, Sioux City, it's all rain for you. Still rain in Mankato, still rain in Owatonna, and temperatures in these zones tell the story here. We're going to be warming up for rain on the I-90 corridor for most of this area as we go through, as the temperatures are loading up here. 34 Fairmount, 34 Austin. As you get up into the Twin Cities, 34, explaining those wet roads. But there'll be patches where we could get some ice. Hutch in Hutchinson. No relation, by the way. 30 degrees of temperature there. So there's going to be the patchy, icy spots. And that rain that's lifting north is going to do this. It's going to bring a chance for some snow continuing. Now, let's take a look at the latest high-resolution 0Z model. This is actually, I think, some data that's coming out now that has tapped into the new weather balloon soundings that we have for the for the entire world. So that's kind of a good thing to have on hand. Let me just double check that this is coming in. Okay, 12Z, here we go. It's still calculating as we go through, but let's go ahead and take a look at the future radar here. So where's the future radar? I may have to reload this because it's acting goofy. My apologies. We'll go over here. All right. Oh, that's why we got that. Okay, so let's go here. And I don't know why it's not going off of the temperature data. There we go. Okay, so now this is 0Z data, and this is based off the weather balloon soundings that went up in Bismarck and Aberdeen and the Twin Cities. So we're taking that data into account here. Some of these runs that are not off to 0Z really don't start off with real data completely, and because of that I put more trust in these 0Z and 12Z models. So this is the one from the weather balloon sounding at 7 a.m. As we put it into motion, you see our snow chances in Fargo move up northward towards Grand Forks, and it kind of oscillates and sits in this area until noon. Here's noon. Then the snow intensity that's heavy moves into Red Lake Falls, Thief River Falls, northern Beltrami County in the Red Lakes area, southern Lake of the Woods County, and eastern Roseau County. Lighter amounts, it won't have snowed there very long, but the heavy snow, this stuff, the rain that was moving in from Sioux City, Iowa, and Spencer, South Dakota will be pushing, Spencer, Iowa will be pushing northward into southern parts of Minnesota as we go through. And what you're noticing here is this band of ice accumulation and heavier snow that will be working its way across. So there is that. And now as we continue to push through the afternoon and now evening hours, as we get into your dinner time here, 7 p.m., still snowing heavy. Look at this. It's right in the Twin Cities with ice and snow, and this is St. Cloud. So these areas here do stand a chance at picking up some very quick, fast, heavy, wet snow where you see the dark blues, the dark pinks, and of course the greens as we go through the day. More ice continues in the northern parts of Wisconsin and the south shore of Lake Superior with snow. Duluth and the North Shore will continue with snow chances as well. Now, as far as this latest model run, let's get a look at what it's saying with regards to the snowfall potential. So, total snowfall in these areas. Watch Fargo here. We still have a chance from the 7 a.m. time frame all the way until we go to the nighttime hours of picking up a good couple inches. Grand Forks, a couple inches possible still. And then as we carry off in towards, say, Lakes Country, it looks like there's a little bit of a dry slot going on here. Now stopping things in places like Ross, Holt, Sisseton, and you folks out there in Tenney. As we get out here towards Otter Tail County, though, and points east, that's where we expect that heavier snow potential. Now, here's the Twin Cities. Here's St. Cloud, a couple of additional inches possible on top of the inch or so that you've gotten there. And then the Twin Cities seeing marginal amounts with mostly rain today. But as you go north on 35, as you get into the Highway 10 corridor here, you'll see a better chance at some more snowfall. And look at this, the North Shore and points into northern Minnesota and the Arrowhead of Minnesota, big time snow still possible in these particular areas. Sean, coming down decent in Bemidji. These two storms are going to amount to the most of all season. For some areas it could, and that is why I've got a big tall cup of coffee, because it's going to be a long day of coverage here on Hutch's Weather, but we'll keep you up to date with the very latest. So I will say this. You're looking at data from the brand new model that's just coming out. These the longer range forecast models that will cover better the weekend storm, those are still calculating. That's why I haven't been able to show you an update on what's going on for the storm for Friday and into Sunday. That second wave does look heavier. I think that I'm still going to stick with my gut and think that this thing's going to shift south just a little bit. But let me see if the European model's coming in. So this will be a look, and it is not coming in yet. But the American model is not coming. Yeah, those are still calculating. So those will take a little while to come in and give us some data. I am seeing another model. I like to, let's look at this one. My eyeballs are struggling here to see. Okay, here's a look at another model. This is a 0Z. This is a, oh, that's an older one. My apologies. Okay, so the North American model is just now coming in with its rendition of this model. And let me go to the more recent one. There we go. All right, so this one isn't all the way in yet, and it looks fairly similar with a sharp line of heavier snow, an inch or two possible, Grand Forks, Fargo. Looks like things will be wrapping up here in the western part, but notice this particular model here, the North American model, has a lot of snow continuing as we go through the morning hours and into the afternoon hours across the Jamestown Valley City areas where the other models cut it off. And I'm not liking that. So I don't know that this model is one that I'm buying. Lock and stock and barrel. So I don't think so. All right, that is the latest model data that I can show you that's still calculating and coming in. So Hutch's forecast, I'll put that up here with regards to our additional snowfall. I've got another 1/2 inch to 1 inch for Grand Forks. I've got another, look at this, 2 to 5 inches, Fargo, Richland County, and parts south here. And then you get on up here into Lakes Country, Otter Tail County. It looks like Otter Tail and Becker County, northern Otter Tail in particular, will be in this 2 to 5. What does 2 to 5 mean? 2 to 3 is going to be likely in these areas. 3 to 5, and isolated plus will also be in this zone. The plus and the 5, the closer to 5, will be generally north of Brainerd, out towards Mille Lacs, out towards the Grand Rapids area, and off into the North Shore there for Duluth and Superior. And those along the North Shore could get even the plus sign there with additional snowfall in those areas. So that's a look at what's going to be taking place the rest of the day. Thank you for your reports. A trace in Otter Tail County east of Battle Lake. That's good to know. So not a lot there. And you see, this model here has taken a bite out of the storm as well in parts of Otter Tail County as far as that goes. And when we compare that with the radar, I'm going to pull up my other radar here now. Here we go. All right, we got some coffee, so we're good. Now, this is on a model right now, but I'm going to go back to the radar data here. Okay, so what you're looking at now is the, let me see if I can put this onto something else. Let's go with, there, I turned it off. Okay, so now what you're looking at is winter weather advisories for today for this storm system. That does include Valley City, Jamestown, Fargo, Moorhead. It does not include Grand Forks, but you'll get a couple inches of some heavy wet snow. You already got probably an inch or more in that area. And then going down towards Aberdeen and St. Cloud and Duluth, all in a winter weather advisory. The advisory is for snow amounts that aren't going to be as heavy as what we could see. Here, it's mainly for ice. So there's not going to be heavy snow south of the Twin Cities. I think we're talking ice here. But the ice and snow combined could cause some trouble. So we have a winter storm warning there and a winter storm warning on the North Shore north of Duluth. The purple that you see here, an ice storm warning, this includes northern and central parts of Wisconsin as we go through the day today. Now behind this, you can't really see this here, but all of these areas in yellow are a winter storm watch. So I'm going to turn off some of these alerts for the wintry weather here for the winter weather advisory. Here we go. I'm going to turn off the winter weather advisory and see if I can find this special weather statement thing here. Okay, let's see if that helps. Okay, now let's see if we could see the watch area for the next storm. This is significant. So we have winter storm warnings already hoisted for the next system that starts Friday morning out to the west. And as we go through Friday during the day, it'll be in the western Dakotas. And then by the time we get to Friday evening, it'll be in the eastern Dakotas and into Minnesota. And Saturday, it will continue through the valley and into Minnesota and northern Minnesota in particular. So this is the track or the expected track of the system. Now, a watch means conditions are all there for a winter storm. We're talking 6 or more inches of snow with this system. And the counties that'll see the heavier snow will likely get put in a warning, and the counties that will see lower snow amounts will likely get switched over to a winter weather advisory. So that's a little bit of how that works for you so you have an understanding. So that next system is expected to deliver some pretty heavy snow. And I will show you now what let me put this back in the model mode here. So now we'll go back here. Put up the HRRR model. I like to switch this up a little bit because neither of these models are handling the current precipitation fields as good as I think that they could. But let's go back to the, we're going to need the winter weather overlay here. So precipitation type, here we go. So this is the forecast model that shows us the storm system as it works its way through Wisconsin and Minnesota and North Dakota. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and we'll let this play through a little bit. You'll see the time behind my head here. Oh, it's still loading up, so it's not all in yet. Okay, now that we're looking at what's going on here, I need to turn on the advisories once again so I don't forget, because otherwise if I leave those advisories off, then I'll forget and then I won't see them the next time they're issued. So it's important to turn them back on. For Hutch it is anyway. So okay, now let's take a look at what's going on with regards to those snowfall reports across the area. Your snowfall reports have been reported and passed along by me during my break there to the National Weather Service forecast offices so that they have them and they've plotted them on the map. And you can see this map by going to Hutch's Weather app. So open the app with me, follow along. All the blue dots are all your snowfall reports, and these are 24-hour snowfall reports here. And now as we take you in just a little bit closer, you're going to start to see that we have some significant snow reports coming in and around that Pierre area, Kennebec and whatnot. 2 to 3 inches of sloppy snow there. Watertown, 2.6 inches. That's a new report. Aberdeen, 3.4 inches. That's a new report. 3 inches up here in the Dickey County area. That's near Ellendale. We have 2.8 inches in Britain, South Dakota. Getting into the Fargo-Moorhead area, we're starting to get 2-inch reports now. And I would concur, I think Moorhead is getting closer to that level of snowfall right now as we go through. Some of it is going to melt and compress as it comes down outside of Jamestown, 2.6 Spiritwood. That's one of your reports. And to the north there on 281, 1.5 in Edmonds. And as we take a look up here, 1.5 in Larimore and about an inch now, approaching an inch in the Grand Forks area. 1/2 of an inch reported up in Grafton. Bemidji, I had a report, this was as of 7 a.m., so we've had more snow now, of 1/2 of an inch of snow. So that's a look at those snowfall reports. I do want to let you know that we're going to have an update to the big time potential for the weekend snow with the winter storm watches and warnings that are coming out here, coming up in a little bit. Those models will take a little bit to run, and I will have the latest on that analysis as well coming up. But for now, that's a look. Let me see if I have any more questions from you, and then we will continue on. I'll put the radar behind me. If you do have a question of something you want to see, let me know. Sean says, I'm going to have to dig out my Hutch's Weather Shovel Trouble shirt. Hey, it's that. I've got my Hutch's Weather Shovel Trouble mug right here. And it's a great way to enjoy a cup of coffee while you keep hydrated after talking a lot. So Shirley watching from Moorhead, good to have you on board. Bruce, thanks for watching. That Trace and Ottertail reported now. That's good to know. So that's what's going on. Temperatures are below freezing across all of North Dakota, meaning snow is going to be the prime precipitation for us for the rest of the day. It's going to be eastern North Dakota focused for the rest of the day today on your Thursday afternoon. That's what I see going on. Let's see any more. Okay. No, that looks good. All right, well, I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you very much. If you do have photos to upload of your snowfall measurements, I want to remind you, you can do that on your Hutch's Weather app. So as you're out and about today, go ahead and hit that photo upload section on the app or on my website. I've gotten a few photos in already, but I'd appreciate some more as we get into the meat and potatoes of the system as it's working its way through. So we'll keep you updated to Trace and Ottertail County east of Battle Lake. Bruce, thank you for your report, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll be back with updates coming up here in just a bit. Let's go. All right, everybody, it's time for my next update. We're starting to see some of these models rolling in. I've been talking for the last day and a half about Storm 2. And I do think that that's something that we're starting to see that trend to the south a little bit more. I'll get to that in a second. First of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Hutch Johnson, and for the last 30 years, I've been covering weather like this in the Northern Plains. I'd love to have you be a part of the channel. Comment with the location and an observation. Stick a ruler in the snow. Let us know what you got. I've got some new snowfall reports. 2.1 inches here in South Moorhead now as of the 9 o'clock hour. I'm going to say that again, 2.1 inches. And out in West Fargo, we have more than that. So some snowfall starting to pile up here. When it ends, we'll go over that, and I'll have that sneak peek. And we're going to start with that right now. We're going to start with round 2, and I'll show you the trend that I'm starting to see with regards to our forecast models. Here we go. And this is a thing where I had mentioned that this first storm moving through is going to lay down some snow. That's going to cool down the atmosphere, and our surface temperatures really do help drive and steer some of these storm systems. on the larger scale, both in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. So because we'll have snow cooling things off here, I felt in my gut that we may see a track to the south, a little bit of an adjustment to the south by models as we approach the second storm Friday to Saturday. Here's a look at some model data now, and I'm going to pull up the latest one. So bear with me while I load up this little model here that takes a look. Now, we're going to look at an American model that is out this far. The global models are still not in with their prognostication yet for the weekend track, but we're starting to see it on some of these model runs now coming in from the 12Z hour. Let me start with this one. Now, this is a North American model, and it does show the system exiting today, and that goes through. Now, as we continue off in time here comes the second storm system with the low in South Dakota tracking right along the South Dakota, Nebraska border, and it moves out. Now notice, it really brings that snow to northern South Dakota and parts of central and eastern North Dakota as we go through Friday, and particularly Friday night and into Saturday here in the Red River Valley. And Minnesota, you're in this game too, particularly the northern one half. So what does that mean? That means that yes, most of North Dakota is staying impact, but there is still a slight southerly track to the storm here as we go through. And I think this is a trend we're going to continue to see take shape, but you never really do know until we know. So now let's take a look at another model coming in here that has a newer model run, and I'm looking for it. And where is it? Okay. Well, okay, here we go. Here is a look at a Canadian model. No, let's go with this one. Don't go out far enough yet. They're still just coming in. Here is one that's on the way in, so that's not quite all the way in yet. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so as we take a look at this particular model run, it's not all the way in yet, but look at the low pressure system way down south, a little farther south. Look at the snow impact on that, and it's cutting off more of northwestern parts of North Dakota. So what will transpire here as we go through the next, in my gut feeling, is that we're going to see more of a central North Dakota and eastern North Dakota event and northern Minnesota event as this one unfolds, as it works its way through. And it's still going to be impactful. The wind doesn't look to be terribly strong with this system. I'm not seeing 50, 60 mile per hour gusts in our area. When the low pressure system forms out in South Dakota here, it's really pretty windy across parts of Wyoming and South Dakota and the Black Hills as it gets started. But once it leaves, those stronger winds will track the low pressure system out here into the Central Plains states as we go through time. So keep in mind that that second storm system is still evolving, and as the data is coming in right now, I'll keep you up to date here through the morning with round two. Now let's go back to round one. We're going to take a look at some snowfall reports and ice reports from across the region. We'll start with snow. Now, I do got to tell you, we're starting to see more of these fill in, and we're getting more snow reports because it's daylight and people are waking up and checking out the scene. But here's what we have going on with regards to those snowfall amounts. Look at South Dakota here. We're seeing snowfall amounts ranging from Lemon at 4.5 inches. That's one way out here. You get down south of Bismarck, 2.8 Hazelton. Fargo Moorhead, I've got the 2.1 now here in South Moorhead as a measurement, and 2 out in West Fargo, 2.6 outside of Jamestown and Spiritwood. Foreman at 3 inches. 3 inches reported at Ellendale. That's as of 8 a.m. this morning. Now, Ellendale, the snowfall for you is wrapping up. Look at this. Aberdeen, 3.4 inches showing up there. And now a look out into Minnesota. Getting a few more reports filtering in from the system as it works its way north towards Duluth. 3 inches as we look into the Moose Lake area on I-35. 2 inches now in Bemidji, to the southwest of Bemidji. So a rapid increase in snowfall amounts for your particular area as well. Now we're going to go look at some other storm reports from the National Weather Service. Where you see purple dots on this particular map are winter weather reports, and there are other reports across the nation with severe weather. But let's go to our area because this will include some ice. So now, as I go ahead and sneak into parts of central Wisconsin, 0.2 of an inch on sidewalks and tree branches in and around Eau Claire. Wausau, 0.2 of an inch of freezing rain in that area. As we go to Stevens Point, 0.3 of an inch. So that's approaching 1/3 of an inch of ice on the area concern there. Area of concern, I should say. And here is a look at the freezing rain. So follow along with me if you have Hutch's Weather app, because it's something that I do want to show you. Let's go right to a look at this if I can. Let me see here. I'll pull this up. things are changing so fast. I just want to keep going to what we have available. Now, if you have Hutch's Weather app or the website, you can follow along with me and interact. But as you go down through, you're going to see the map down here. When we click on the map, let's see what happens here. Okay, so this is the watches, warnings, and advisories. I'm going to go to the layer menu here, and let's see if we can plot. Okay, temperature, wind, satellite. There's the ability on the app to go ahead and plot the power outages that are going on across the nation. So make sure that you check the app for that, because in Wisconsin, with 1/3 of an inch of ice, that's a problem out in that neck of the woods. So this is also where I'd love to have you upload your photos of snow or winter weather that you're getting in your area to give everybody a heads up. And quick look at road conditions now in this update, and then we will get you back to your business at hand. Here's thunderstorms making their way into western Iowa right now, and that next heavy batch of rain is going to be pushing northward, where you see the pinks completely covered roads with snow and ice across parts of central Minnesota. So as we go all the way from, say, Erskine here on the Highway 2 corridor through Foston, you see snow and wind causing pillow drifting on the area roads, slippery conditions there. And again, as we get into the Bemidji area, 2 inches of snowfall reported up in that particular area. And again, temperatures down in the 20s means slippery. As we look in on the Monoman area, same thing goes for you folks. And as you look in on Hendrum, a little more icy compaction going on here on that Highway 200 corridor between the Hendrum and Halstead area, as well as Ada. Working its way through. Now you get east of the Fargo area towards Lake Park on Highway 10. It looks wet as I take a look at the pavement there, but we do have some snow on the side of the road. And now going south just a little bit, look at the coverage on the road here, 75, US 75 by Kent, Minnesota. And that's how those roads are looking, pretty thick with that ice and compacted nonsense going on. Between Wahpeton and Fergus Falls, the road reported completely covered. I-94, as we go down towards Fergus Falls, here's a look at that. We certainly have some heavy precipitation or moderate precipitation going on there with visibilities reduced a bit. Now, as we get into the St. Cloud area, it does look like we're seeing the areas here picking up some snow, and look at that, some snow fog, if you will, working its way through the region there. You know what? It's wet and icy. Look at this. Wow, Minnesota 15 out there as you go into that St. Cloud area has picked up some ice on the area lens. North Dakota roads, where you see the yellows, icy roads here in the Minot zone. We have purple, which means some snow-covered roads that are impacting that Valley City and Jamestown area. Whoops, that camera not available. Let's go to this one. So we definitely have snowfall, but it's wrapping up in Stutsman County now. Snow continues Valley City, Fargo area. For the area, it looks like it's a little heavier in Fargo now than it is in Valley City. The road is wet. That's a good sign. Temperatures hovering near freezing. They'll watch for icy spots. Out near Lemoore, look at this as we check out highway number 13. That is completely covered with a pretty thick paste of snow and slush. And again, reports from this area were earlier around 3 inches, so we could be a little more than that. Here's Ashley as you go down that Highway 11 corridor there. So again, southeast North Dakota, the snow gets a little heavier as you go south of Interstate 94. South Dakota, north central, northeast parts of the state seeing most of the impacts from the system. Where you see the pink roads is where we have the slushy ones. Snow does continue for this area, although it is wrapping out of the Watertown area. Let's go into this camera here. This is a look at Altamont here at a Highway 212, US 212, showing that there's pretty much complete coverage of ice and compacted snow on the road surface there. I-29 at Watertown, we're starting to see, well, it's still icy looking, but the amount of snow down there, not nearly as much as what we saw to the east. And look at Wisconsin now. Wisconsin roads, we're seeing a lot of the blue, so partial coverage with ice and snow as conditions continue there to deteriorate throughout the day. So back to the radar we go, and then we'll take a quick look at the hour-by-hour forecast to show you when it stops. We do have heavy rain pushing into parts of western Iowa. This next batch of moisture is going to be pressing north. Here's the band that exists right now in the Red River Valley and parts of northwest and northern Minnesota. Go back to the 12Z run of this model, and I'll sneak over on this side so we can all look together at what's going on here in the Red River Valley. Watch this system as it works its way northward. Here we go. Pushes north right along the Minnesota-South Dakota border, right into Tenney, right into the area here near Lake Traverse, and pushing off into Otter Tail County. So this one now, this latest model run, showing rain here all the way through the cities in St. Cloud as your temperatures surge up to near 40 degrees today, and then they start falling. This band of heavy precipitation here will be 1 to 2 inch snowfall rates and more accumulating ice as we go through your drive time home time frame. So you're looking at right now 3 p.m. on this, and then as you get into your drive time home, that snow goes right over the I-35 corridor, the Interstate 94 corridor from, say, Douglas County and Alexandria right into St. Cloud, and we will see a pretty rapid accumulation of snow there. Light snow continues into the evening hours for the northern Red River Valley. There is going to be a chance at some nuisance snow amounts there as this system does exit and the next system takes hold. How much additional snow? I'm going to stick with that forecast map that I've been showing you here since a little bit earlier this morning, but 2 inches to 3 inches for most inside the pink circle. I'll say that again. Pay attention to the numbers I type on here and not necessarily the individual ones. 2 to 3 inches as a rule, because it varies considerably from town to town based on local climatology and all kinds of local impacts. Now, as we go down to the black line inside that, a ½ inch to 1 inch is going to be likely here. I think we could get a shot of some heavier snow. A couple of models are showing an intensification of some snow in northwest Minnesota, so I'll be watching the radar closely to see if that evolves. Not all models show that, but it is a possibility. So again, as you get north of, say, Highway 10 here, along Highway 10 and points north, that will bring the best chance of seeing this 2 to 5 window. For Fargo, I do think that we picked up a solid another inch of snow since about the 6 o'clock hour this morning to about 1.5 inches. And it continues to snow pretty well here. And it does look like the model showed that that continues into the early afternoon hours. So do keep in mind, we have some more snow making its way through the region right now. Let me get to your questions here. Pardon me while I load up your question screen so I can see the questions. Thanks for joining me, Dean. I appreciate it. I know, I see that face. I feel it as well. Northern Grace, thanks for the updates. Thank you for watching, and I do appreciate it very much. So again, more snow, one more time on the model's forecast with regards to when it ends for your area. And I'll stand on the side of the map where we can see where the snow is continuing here. Again, the models are coming in for the long range for that second storm that we're watching. Got to load up the right one here. Pardon my eyeballs while there we go. Okay. So as we go through the afternoon hours, here is 2 p.m. wrapping up in Fargo, continuing in northern Minnesota. So here in the early afternoon, we should see our chance of snow decreasing. It returns to Grant County, Morris, Benson, all the way straight down Montevideo, and then off towards St. Cloud as we go through the evening drive time, 3 to 5. This band of heavy snow will add up fairly quickly as we go through. And if we take a look at the snowfall potential with this model as we go through time, pardon me when my eyeballs search all the way across the screen here for, let's go with total snowfall. Now, this is going to vary widely too. Another thing that makes these forecasts very intricate and difficult is the fact that we have warmer temperatures here, so we're getting more of a slush. So a sharp cutoff to near nothing on snowfall amounts on the south side. But once you get out of the Twin Cities here, as we're going through the afternoon and evening drive and get up towards St. Cloud, it starts ramping up. So that you are in that 2 to 5 window in St. Cloud. You get north still towards Mille Lacs and towards Brainerd and Cass Lake and on up into the Walker area, Bemidji. These areas definitely will be in that 2 to 5 window, and I'm starting to see some trending towards some heavier snow amounts sneaking up into northwest Minnesota here. Look at most of Roseau County in the blue, which would put you in the 2 to 5 category. So again, we've seen certainly worse amounts of snow and worse storm systems than this. But we have another one on the heels of this, and I'll keep you updated right here as we go through. Thanks for your questions. Thank you also very much for your snowfall reports. If you travel, make sure you pull out Hutch's Weather app to get the latest on that, and I'll keep you updated as we go through this event and updating you on road conditions as well right here on Hutch's Weather. All right, everybody, meteorologist Hutch Johnson returning here with an update on your forecast, the radar. We're going to get started with what's happening right now. We still have a band of snow that is working its way all the way from central parts in southern North Dakota into northern parts of Minnesota. A persistent band that's picked up now. This secondary band right back here has just kind of re-emerged into the scene. Meanwhile, the main system for Friday to Saturday starting to take shape out in the Rocky Mountains. Models are still coming in on that for the long range forecast for your Saturday into Sunday time frame, but we're starting to see a southerly trend toward that model, as I've been talking about for the last couple of days. If you're just joining me, thanks for watching. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and for the last 30 years I've been covering weather like this through the northern plains. And check out what's going on. Southern Minnesota, the ice is returning, so temperatures cold enough in this zone where we have surface freezing temperatures, and the precipitation falling from the clouds up above melting into liquid drops and freezing rain happening down here. Already a tenth of an inch to upwards of third of an inch of ice in parts of central Wisconsin right now, creating havoc in those areas. So there are some tricky travel conditions across parts of central and northern Wisconsin, southern Minnesota. Here is a big hole in the system as far as additional snowfall totals. So you go north and west of St. Cloud, and we have a little bit of an area of sinking air, drier air that's worked its way into the system. And yes, Clint Moe, I do have my coffee cup right here. You can pick up this very coffee cup yourself by searching my website or app. Join me now and hit the Hutch's shop. I've got some merchandise on there for anybody who's interested. Good morning, Warren from Jamestown. Hello from Fergus Falls. Gary, good to have you on board, and thanks again for watching. If you do have a question, let me know. I will say we have a lot of snow reports to go over, and those ice reports I just went over. Some of the heavier snow right now, Duluth and on up and wrapping its way up into sections down here in northern Minnesota. So we'll go in just a little bit closer, and you can see it. We do have some snow shower activity for you in Ada and Norman County, out towards Mahnomen and Nadawash and on up towards Fosston. And as you get into the White Earth area, the snow is lifted just a little bit north of you. So for most of Becker County, it's quiet. For most of Otter Tail County and Lakes Country right now, quiet. Park Rapids to Sabika, it is. It's not done yet for Minnesota, but it is wrapping up in all likelihood across parts of North Dakota here in the next little bit. So we'll go through that hour by hour forecast, but I have prepared a few graphics for you, and we'll go over that on this 4-page here. So let me turn the music down on this and give me just 1 second, because, well, maybe I can just load them up right here. Let's just do that. Why not? You guys have been a lot of patience with Hutch, so I appreciate that. Let's go right here. So we're going to load up this. And this was the forecast for the snowfall totals, by the way, along the North Dakota-South Dakota line. How is this faring out? This was by this morning. 2 to 5 inches seems to be on spot on for parts of north central South Dakota, not far from Aberdeen, based on the snowfall reports I'm going to show you here shortly. And then heading into the rest of the afternoon, I was expecting this to add up and continue to add up, but it does look like things are wrapping up for parts of northern South Dakota. And here we have a chance to see some more snow. But I do think that this heavier band is going to be lifted north a little bit, but we will see some snow down here on the south side because that moisture returning from the south is on its way. Here is a look at some snowfall totals. Let me pop up the graphics on this. Here is a look at snowfall reports for area number 1. And area number 1 is showing here that we do have some significant snow in and around the Fargo-Moorhead area, now up to over 2 inches in South Moorhead, measured by yours truly with the old ruler method. It's not science, it's measuring. Get a measurement. Drop it in the comments below when we're done here. I predicted 2 weeks ago 80 degrees. Ace Jack, you were right. Just like we predict 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and somewhere it's 80 degrees. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Betty says light snow still falling in Cormorant. That right, and it looks like more will be on the way. Max says Fargo to Sioux Falls or Fargo to Minneapolis will be better travel conditions this afternoon, question mark. Heavy rain is pushing in toward the Twin Cities, so it does look like Fargo to Sioux Falls-ish. That moisture is going to return up on that Sioux Falls corridor in the form of rain. Somewhere north of there could be a narrow band of icing on 29 south to Sioux Falls. So that should be improving, but watch for some icy spots. Between Fargo and Minneapolis, things could be a little bit more dicey. I think more widespread rain and snow as we go into the late afternoon hours here, just in time for drive time. So the earlier you leave, the better the chances will be to get to the cities without too much headache there. Now, let's take a look at some snowfall reports. I've got a few pages of these. Lemon, South Dakota, the big winner so far, 4.5 inches there, 3.4 Aberdeen. Moose Lake, Minnesota, upwards of 3 inches as you get north of the Twin Cities, south of Duluth, Ellendale, 3 inches, Foreman, North Dakota, 3 inches, and Hazelton about that. These were as of between 7. Some of these reports were given at 7 a.m., some of them up to around 10 a.m. I measured the 2 inches here in the FM area a little bit earlier. So now let's go ahead and switch this over and take a look at the next batch of snowfall totals. And boy, golly, here we go. We got some snowfall out in Britain, South Dakota, about 3 inches. Watertown, 2.6 inches. And Spiritwood, North Dakota, 2.6 inches. And that secondary band setting up in your neck of the woods as well. Webster, we had 2.1 inches. Same thing for Claremont in that region. And we have Sisseton at 2 inches as well. So northeastern and north central parts of South Dakota, many reports of around 2 inches until you get up to the North Dakota border near Ellendale. There's a couple of reports of 3 inches there. West Fargo, a report, thanks Bill, it looks like a 2-inch report from you, and it's still snowing, according to Bill, in West Fargo at a rate of about 1/4 of an inch per hour. Here's some more measurements from the St. Cloud area, 1 to 2 inches reported there. Vineland, Minnesota, 1.7. Grand Rapids, 1 inch. Thank you for your report right here on Hutch's Weather. Grand Forks, North Dakota area up to around 1 inch, but that was earlier this morning. We'll keep you posted. And Grafton, how about 0.5 inches there? And now let's see what this one says. Well, I guess we already did. Let's see. Sorry about that. Let's go to number 4. There it is. Okay, so Vivian, South Dakota, 2 inches. Millbank and Rossland out there at about that 2-inch category, 1.5 from Malacca. And the Larimore area in North Dakota seeing 1.5 inches. And again, Brainerd and the Camp Ripley area, as well as Nisswa, reporting near 1 inch to 1.5 inches and up to 2 inches in that region. So that's a look at that. And then we went over the ice reports. Now let's take a look again at the forecast for the big picture. Now, the models for the regional forecast as we go into the weekend are still calculating from this morning's weather balloon launch, which happened at 7. The data was gathered until about 8 a.m. Central Time, and then we started the models. Those take a good couple, 2 to 3 hours to finish. So that model data will come out and it'll be the best that we have until 11 o'clock tonight or later. So I'm telling you here, and you'll get it here first, this is where you're going to see what I think will be a shift in the second system just a little bit to the south, a more southerly track, maybe similar to this one. This second system, though, does have a better chance at producing storm conditions with areas of 6 or more inches of snow as we go through. Here is a look at the latest European model. Now, this one was taken from this is model data based on estimates of what must be going on in the upper atmosphere. So essentially, this forecast model here from the European model shows showers, thunderstorms, and severe weather as we go Friday night into Saturday. Iowa could get strong to severe storms. Northern parts of Illinois and Indiana could see strong to severe storms, and the snow gets started here in the Red River Valley counties of North Dakota Friday evening. So Friday evening is when you want to be where you're going to be, and then the snow system really takes hold with bands of moderate to heavy snow wrapping around. Gusty wind on the backside of the system will increase, but maybe not timed precisely with the snow system. Now, let's see if any of these models are coming in. Hey, we have the Icon model here. Okay, so that's the German model. Here is a brand new look at a European model called the Icon model. It's from Germany. And look at the Oh, there's the first time I've seen it. So a much farther southerly track to the low here through parts of Kansas instead of Nebraska. There is a secondary low right here that moves through Nebraska. Therefore, southern North Dakota, a good chance at heavy snow. And then the snow system lifts out into parts of Minnesota as it congeals and forms into one storm system out here in Iowa. So what happens with this one? We'll see. But let's go ahead and take a look at the snowfall potential with this particular model. We're doing this together. And I use the word really purposefully, potential. When you're looking at these global models, they're going to throw out wild numbers. They throw a huge area of big time snow out, and usually we don't see that wide of an area get hit with that much snow. But this German model just coming in, we're looking at, I'm showing you this not because it's the forecast. I'm showing you this because as we go through Friday and into Saturday, here we go. And this is a look at the track. So northern South Dakota, southern North Dakota, all of eastern North Dakota, and then all of northern Minnesota having a chance at seeing some healthy snowfall totals. Keep in mind, it looks really heavy here, but this is because we're getting accumulation tonight up in northern Minnesota, and then we're going to add on top of it the second storm. What has fallen here has already fallen and is not included in this model run. So this second wave of snow looks to be very similar, but more of a chance at seeing some 6-inch snowfall totals with this. So this is your first look at the first model run, and I'll zoom this into our area just a little bit because I am curious as to how much snow this particular model is advertising for this system as we go into Sunday morning. So here's Sunday morning at, well, let's go with around the 11 a.m. time frame. So here we have a model that's saying over 6 inches is going to be possible in the pink, anywhere in here, but not everywhere inside there. So 4 or more inches of snow in Hutch's experience will be likely in this area. And we could see that up to close to 8 inches of snow for many. Could we see more? Yes. But will we know more about that? Not until we get into that 24-hour window or so, when we start to see the true temperatures in the atmosphere, dynamics, and any shift in the track could still be substantial. Substantial shifts in the track for this storm system are still possible. It could still shift south. It could shift back to the north. But now you're just seeing that German model has just come in now. That's the first one in. And the American model is just getting started. So here are the first few frames of the American model. Let's go see if I can get it. There we go. There's a 12Z. So this is showing today. So the rest of the storm that goes into your Friday morning. Let's get to Friday morning. So by Friday morning, it looks like northern Minnesota, north of the Twin Cities, has the best chance at seeing that accumulation. And then, let's look at the map of the atmosphere. Okay, let's not. Okay, and then this is just getting started on that second system coming out, showing southern parts of western North Dakota and northern South Dakota. So we're locking in on a track for that second system, and it does look like Hutch's hunch a couple of days ago of a more southerly track might be coming to fruition on that one. We'll see. So here's a look at the ice. It's starting to show back up on the radar again as we get you the latest information here. Here's the radar. So as you go from Brookings, here's that track you were asking about here. What about a trip down south? Yes, we do have to worry, Mac, that down south we could see some icing taking place, Watertown and Point South. That continues. But as far as the new snowfall goes, I don't think we're going to get an appreciable amount there. Now, as we continue into parts of Mankato and along and north of Interstate 90 here in Minnesota, there's a wide area of ice. This lifts north right over the Twin Cities as we go through the afternoon hours. So here we sit at approximately 11 a.m. as I come back into focus, and we'll have some areas of snow and some areas of ice working their way through the region. Going through Wausau right now, this is the right now radar at 10:45 a.m. and we still have a solid, huge area from Rice Lake through Rhinelander, Wausau, all the way out towards the Kingsford area out here. Big time accumulations have already hit 1/3 of an inch for some of you. And now Green Bay, I did get a report from a viewer here. We're seeing 1/3 of an inch in Green Bay of freezing rain. That can cause power disruptions. So with gusts upwards of 25 to 30 miles per hour, we could have some power disruptions in the state of Wisconsin because of the freezing rain. 1/10 of an inch in the Appleton area. As we go over towards Wapaka, we're seeing 2/10 of an inch, 3/10 of an inch in Watoma. So a lot of these areas here in Wisconsin now upping the game now from a 1/10 of an inch to 1/3 of an inch of rain. Multiple trees down across Waushara County due to ice accumulation on trees, and it's snapping trees and they're down. We have remarks, several trees and limbs down. Spotters reported loss of power. This is in Polonia, Wisconsin. Polonia, Wisconsin, power outages reported. Marathon City, freezing rain, 2/10 of an inch. You don't want to try driving through this stuff. This is where we could have some serious crashes going on. And as we go down out towards Green Bay. So now we'll take a quick look at these road conditions. Let's start in Wisconsin because that's where we left off on the radar. And as we take a look at Wisconsin, the pink colors here are completely covered roads in the northern part of the state on the south shore of Lake Superior. Big time snow accumulation potential in these areas. And pink means the roads are expected to be completely covered with snow. That's snow. You get down south, all these blue lines mean partial coverage. not complete coverage, with ice or snow. And as we get into the Wausau area here, let's go on the north side of town. And here's a look at what we see on the area cameras there. So it definitely looks like a cement mixture there of snow and ice. Then as we go right into town here, let's go on the west side loop. And as we take a look at this camera, it tells the story. This was 10:46 a.m. That image was taken 10 seconds ago. And it's crying ice cubes, folks, off of that camera lens out there in Wausau, Wisconsin. So there are some very icy conditions there. Going out towards Green Bay, we do have several cameras here on the east side of the state, and we've got reports of a good 2 to 3/10 of an inch of ice accumulating here right on the camera lens. This is I-41 Ashland Avenue area in Green Bay. As we go right near the shore, the icing potential may not be as good, but you got to watch these bridges and overpasses where the temperature can cool the pavement surface a lot colder than pavement that's over ground, the ground emitting some heat, helping to keep those road surfaces a little warmer. Overpasses, on-ramps, off-ramps, and bridges, often in these cases, can really cause the ice accumulation to build up. So keep that in mind, travelers through Wisconsin. More camera I-41 at County Road S here, seeing some ice on the lens there. Very slow traffic working its way through Wisconsin. Appleton, let's go right in the center of town. And again, this image showing that the camera is crying ice cubes right out there. Grandson traveling to Las Vegas from Hector International. Gary, thank you so much. Fergus Falls to Fargo by noon on Saturday. Travel trouble? Yes. Saturday looks like a winter event. And you may want to, Gary, leave on Friday and be where you're going to be by Friday night because the snow should begin in Fargo by the time we get to Friday night. Could it impact your air travel? Yes. But will it cancel the flight? I don't know. But as far as the travel concerns go, it might be safest to try to think about driving up to Fargo on Friday evening so that you don't have to go through big snow in the morning, because it will start Friday night, and by morning I'm afraid we're going to have some pretty significant snowfall potential between Fergus Falls and Fargo all the way up to near Grand Forks. So much of eastern North Dakota and western Minnesota in your area will be in the mix for some heavy snow. Okay, Beck Lawrence, thank you very much. Hutch, lost power just west of Green Bay. Thank you for sharing that. So power outages going out, and you can follow along with me by downloading Hutch's Weather app. Search Hutch's Weather in your app store today when we're done here. And on the app, if you go to my Radar Plus section, you'll be able to see where there are some power outages. I'll see if I can effort this to work. It wasn't working earlier for me to put my cell phone on the screen here, but let's try it. Let's see. It's loaded up. Okay, here we go. Follow along with me. Get your cell phone out right now and stay on my live stream here. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. Here is a look at Hutch's Weather app. This is what the icon looks like. So that's me. Thank you to all of you who support my app and to all of you who have downloaded it with the nice reviews you've given me so far. I do appreciate it. This was, after all, built based on your recommendations and requests. So you can get your latest conditions. You can put multiple cities, up to 16 locations in here to watch. I have Fargo, I have Moorhead, and all these areas. Here's your road reports right here. You can go ahead and take a look at that. But this, I want to show you, I call this the Radar Plus, because it's so much more than just the radar now. When you click on it, it will zoom into your area. So we'll zoom out. And here we see this area of blue. That's a winter storm watch for round 2 coming. Now, if you want to look a little bit more about power outages, I want to show you how to get them on the app, and it's awesome. So first things first, we're going to go here to turn on and off layers. So if you click on National Radar or this layers menu, I like to use the layers menu, but they're both the same. The data we're plotting is the radar. I want to change that to state, no, county power outages. So I'm going to click on that, and it will show us county by county across our map area of where the power outages are the worst. Now, I should go back up here and turn off some of the other data on the overlays so it's not so saturated with information. I'm going to turn off the other alerts, like weather alerts, like winter storm warnings and blizzard warnings and such. We'll turn those off for now. I like to leave them on normally. Lightning strikes, I don't care about turning off right now. Storm tracks, we'll leave those on. But I turn off the alerts because that always highlights a color on the map, making it more difficult to see the data. mess with this Radar Plus thing. It's a very cool tool. You can plot future radar and you can plot future snow accumulation 24 hours out. Why do I stop it there? I don't want you looking at model data that's junk beyond 24 hours. It's more of a guess as far as precipitation goes out that far, even for our models. So here we go. Power outages. Looks like there's some power outages in the county of Otter Tail County right now, but it's this dark blue color. So we don't have a huge percentage of people without power, but there is a power outage reported and being tracked here in Otter Tail County, Minnesota. Get to where we had some ice in and around Minnesota and western Wisconsin, and we do have some power outages here. El Paso, Wisconsin is where that's at. And as we go south of the Twin Cities on 35 down here, we're talking about Owatonna. There's some power outages there. Possibly caused by ice. Winona, power outages for your area right now. How about this, huh? Hutch's Weather app, right now you can see where the power outages are. Oh my goodness, this is pretty significant. So when we got red would mean more than 50% of this area is without power. So Kashina and Neopit, this area here has over 50% of the area served is without power right now, just off to the east-northeast of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And here we got some greens. Stevens Point, you folks out here at Wisconsin Rapids, we had 2 to 3/10 of an inch of ice reported, and this is green, meaning over 10 to 20% of your counties here are without power. Plover, Stevens Point, numerous counties have some disruption to power as we take a look there in Wisconsin. So that's where this ice storm is really hitting hard. And there's going to unfortunately be more ice as we show you here on the Radar Plus. So now I'm going back to my county power outages and I say, okay, I'm informed about that. Now I want to look at the future radar. What's going on for this area? What kind of precipitation are we going to get? So we turned on the future radar. Now we're going back and now we just have to hit the play button. You see the cloud has a clock in it. And if you hit the play button there, it's going to load up the scans and show you where the ice is going to track through the day. And then you can slow it down because I can't even read the clock that fast. And here it is by 2 p.m. right here, Minneapolis, St. Cloud ice. Just on the north side of it, very heavy band of snow tracking right along with it, basically from west central parts of Minnesota straight up toward the Duluth area, the North Shore continuing to see that potential for ice. Meanwhile, showers, thunderstorms, and severe ones working their way off to the east as we go through the late afternoon hours. Then we'll continue this track of ice through. Look at this, UP. That's right. Sault Ste. Marie is going to be slip sliding because there's going to be some icing potential with this band of very heavy rain, showers and thunderstorms that could be strong to severe rumbling through the region. And it's still snowing as I pull my hand off the clock here. This is 9 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock at night. Hutch's Weather app. Get it, download it, let me know what you think of it, and I hope you've learned a thing or two about how you can use it to plot even more. Gary says, okay, Gary, got to your question. Katie, my apologies. Thanks for the info. Do you think travel would be better this evening or tomorrow between Mayville and Fergus Falls? Fergus Falls to Mayville. This evening, the snow should be stopping between Fargo and Mayville. We only have a couple of inches in Fargo. You go up north of us, we have upwards of an inch or so as you approach Grand Forks. So there's a rapid decline in the amount of snow. Will it be better this evening or tomorrow morning? By tomorrow morning, you can see this storm is gone. This is by 9 p.m. tonight, and we could still see some areas here of snow north of Fargo. But as we go into the overnight hours towards the morning, we're very quiet. So as we go into the morning hours, we should have had a chance to see the precipitation end, the icing chance out. There will still be some icy areas on the roads, particularly once you get off I-29 and head out west on that chute out to Mayville. But it does look like I would recommend, if you don't want to drive through falling snow or the icy conditions that you're going to have between now and then, tomorrow morning may be a little bit better. Even though the temperatures will be a little bit on the cooler side, I'm only expecting lows to be generally near 28 to 30 degrees. So that's a look at that. Thank you for your question, by the way. Ace Jack, snow mix in Grand Forks, North Dakota right now. So here, how do you get a look at that with Hutch's Weather app? Isn't it fun? Grab the app right now. Join with me. And we're going to go to the menu, and I want you to go to the road report. The road report allows us to see with our eyes DOT cameras. So let's go to North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota. Click on the state of North Dakota, but we got you covered Manitoba. We got you covered Wyoming. We got you covered Montana, South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, because you requested we add it to the app. So we got you covered. Now, if you take a look at this app, the pro tip here to actually see the conditions, the color codes here tell you that we got yellow means icy roads. If you don't know what the colors mean, go to the menu here, the little 3 bars, and click on it. And you can turn on the legend or look at the legend and say, oh, yellow, what's yellow? Ice and compacted snow. Ooh, yuck. Okay, then we're going to close that menu, and then we're going to go right back to this, but the pro tip is go back to the menu, and we're going to turn on the cameras. So we scroll down, Humpty Dumpty Dump. We're looking for layers, so I'm going to turn the layers on, and I want to see cameras. And North Dakota just added snowplow cameras. Thank you, DOT crews. You are amazing out there keeping our roads clear as possible and open. And you're doing a great job. Now, all the little yellow dots are snow plows, and you can see the direction that they're traveling. And then the static cameras are located in places. So you're talking about Grand Forks. We're going to zoom right in to the good old Grand Forks, East Grand Forks area here. And now as we look in, now we'll have to go to the Minnesota page to see East Grand Forks, but here is a look at Grand Forks right in town on I-29. Look at that. You are right. We definitely have some ice and snow on the road. You can zoom the picture in just a little bit and take a closer look. Oh yeah, that pavement has a little bit of ice on it and some snow on the roadside, slushy, wet snow that will likely be freezing. So thanks for your report. But if you want to see what's going on between, say, Fergus Falls and Mayville, let's go down to Mayville here. And as we look into Steele County, and you're taking that exit toward the radar in Mayville, right here, you know, that Highway 200 area there, we don't have a lot of cameras in this particular area. There is a snow plow going outside of Thompson, so you can get a feel for that area. Snow on the side of the road, not terrible tonight, so we don't have a bunch of snow, but there'll be some icy spots for the afternoon if you chose to drive this evening. And here's a look at a snow plow going out by Clifford and Galesburg here. Same thing goes. If you take a close look at the road, you can definitely see that there is some ice on that particular road surface right there. Where is this road? If you read the bottom, it says this is Mayville, the Mayville route, and it does look like we are talking about 10:56 for the timestamp on it right there. So that's a great way right here on the app to make a sound decision on whether you want to travel these roads or not. And for you traveling from Fergus Falls, you just click on the Minnesota dial. You say, oh, okay, let's go to the next tip here, and then close out of this. And now, boom, you use 2 fingers to zoom in, zoom out. You go out towards Fergus Falls out here, and you can see the roads are blue. Blue colors on the Minnesota map mean different things. So pull up the legend and have a look-see and see what that legend says. So legends and layers. Go to legends and say blue. What's blue? We'll scroll down through here. Blue is going to be, oh, it says partially covered roads. Okay, blue is partially covered. Pink is all covered. Now I know what these colors mean. Then we'll put that back and we'll go look at a camera here in Fergus Falls, and Rothsay tends to be a wicked spot, doesn't it? Like, I always notice a little bit more in the way of ice in that area. It's a terrain feature there. So here we go. This is I-94, and this looks like a dark shot. It might be not updated right now. So there it is. That looks more updated. So that does look like there is some ice on the road surface right there in and around that Rothsay area. So that is a look at what's going on using Hutch's Weather app, designed for you. And it's designed for the entire upper Midwest. And it's designed to keep you ahead of the storm, allow you to submit your photos right here by hitting this photo submit button, where you stab your ruler into the snowbank. Hopefully you're not measuring this guy, because you'll need more than a ruler there. Also, on the app, Hutch is live right now. And at the top of the app, it's saying, ooh, look at this, Hutch is live. So once you've gone, this has gone to my page here for the photo uploads, but it's telling you right there at the top of the photo upload page, Hutch is live. So you can watch this on your phone. So if you've lost power, Wisconsin, and you have the phone, you can stay connected with Hutch's Weather. See that picture right there on the screen? Yeah. It is a cool tool, and it's here for you, and it's free. So download it today. All right, Brad says, potentially traveling Omaha to North Dakota today. Good to go, or should we stay home? Omaha to North Dakota. Let's go to Hutch's weather app here, because we got you covered as you go through. Now, Nebraska, you won't be in Omaha long, but you get on that South Dakota corridor there, we got you covered. So you go back here to my app, and we're going to go back. And we're going to go to our road conditions page. And here's Iowa. And oh, we got Nebraska. Okay, so Nebraska, here's what you do. You click on it, you say okay, and now you see a lot of green. Green means seasonal roads. The radar shows most of the rain moving off to the east. You are G to G, good to go, all the way up until you get into the I-29 corridor in South Dakota. My forecast shows a chance for some area of icing, not far south of Watertown. So as you're crossing that Huron area, there'll be a chance for some areas of ice. And then once you go north of Watertown and points north, there could be some compacted snow and ice in spots on the interstate. Other than that, you've probably traveled through worse, so keep that in mind. Wow, I turned the phone sideways and we get the full screen view here. That's really cool. Okay, I didn't know that. I've got to hold still and not be so jerky. Okay, Brad, I don't like to tell people when to go. I like to power you with information. Here's the Omaha on up towards through Council Bluffs in Omaha, right up into Sioux Falls, Sioux City. Okay, and then as you get up north of that, then you just change your map over here and you go back and you say, I want to see South Dakota. So then you go to South Dakota and track it through. South Dakota has icy road reports north of Watertown, just so you know. But tonight's precipitation will lead me to believe that we could see a narrow band of icing right here as you go on that I-29 corridor. You see this little arm of precipitation out here near the Brookings area. So this area right here, I think there could be a chance for you to run into a little bit of ice. Not heavy, not a lot of it. In this update, we do have this heavier band of snow right now through Norman County, Clay County, so in the Felton area, Dilworth, Glendon, all the way out towards Moorhead and Dilworth. I think that band of snow is a little heavier. It's starting to fall apart out to the west now. No model had this little nugget showing up on it as we take a look at the latest forecast model. There's a new one in right now, so I'll take a look at the first few frames of it. And if you look at the first few frames of a model, yeah, it's showing one little nugget out there, but that's about it. So it did kind of put that on there. Watch it disappear. Boop, gone. So what this model tends to do is like, well, the radar is showing something, so we're going to start out with snow, but then it disappears on the next frame because the calculations don't support it. So that's a quick look at that model. It's only a couple hours of data that are in from that particular run. Go back here. I just want to show you the timing of some of this, and this model does look to be on to a pretty good thing. So if you're traveling I-29, I'll get my big old body out of the way here. I-29 through east central South Dakota is where you may run into some travel trouble on I-29 this evening yet. And all of Minnesota from, say, Interstate 90 and points north, we're going to have rain, heavy ice accumulation in a narrow band, and very heavy snow accumulating in a narrow band. That moves right up into northwest Wisconsin. The icing for northwest Wisconsin should continue and then end as it lifts northward and turn back into rain. That could be good news because that might help melt what's in and on your trees right now with that rain moving through, as long as it doesn't freeze. So what happens here is as this moves up in north, your temperatures should be rising as we go into the afternoon hours today, hopefully helping your situation. Let's see if this is accurate. As we take a look at Wisconsin and the temperatures here, we see them rising as we go into the afternoon to 37, 36. So hopefully, with any luck at all, some of that thick ice that's on your tree will have enough hours to melt off and then be done for you. And then things should be improving. Brad, thanks for the info. Definitely help us make a decision. Absolutely. Thanks for your question. And now let's see. Hi, Hutch. How's it going? The weather coming to Mahnomen. Yep, Derek, we definitely have more weather making its way into Mahnomen. I'll switch this right back over to the future radar. And here we go. If you take a look at Mahnomen County, which is behind my shoulder, I'm going to move me over. Okay, so you can see Mahnomen County is just right here. And as you go, there's Becker, there's Mahnomen right there. So watch that spot. And then as we take you look through that, this band of snow we have now goes through, and then look what happens here. As we get into the afternoon hours, this main event moves up, and you could get an extended or protracted period of light to moderate snow. It doesn't look as heavy as it'll be where you see these dark blue colors. So if you're in Morris, if you're in Benson, if you are in Grant or Douglas counties, right out here to very near St. Cloud, there's a decent chance of seeing some heavy bands of snow make their way through. How much is that? I have you in the 2 to 5 category, but a lot of that has already fallen. So let's put it in the 1 to 3 category for additional snowfall for your area. I hope that answers your questions. Do you think travel would be better? Oh, we answered the Mayville question. Thank you very much. I thought it was something I was seeing. So, in recap, if you're just joining us, hi everybody, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thank you for the likes on these videos. It does help them get out. So make sure you're hitting the likes. And you know what? Give it a heart if you have a heart to do that too. It does help put the content out to more people from my friends at YouTube, from my friends on the other channels that I'm broadcasting on. Stay tuned. I'll keep you updated here. I have a sequence playing with music that you can always see the latest radar going on. This band of snow that's working its way out of North Dakota right now in review should be wrapping up as we go into the early afternoon, and then this main batch of moisture moves up. We have a nice break going on here, but this will all fill back in as this energy and moisture works its way north back into the region here. And when that happens, we're going to have a band of heavier snow setting up, and we can kind of maybe see the onset of that just north of Wilmer right now. So here's a look at that heavier batch of snow. Belgrade, Paynesville, all the way out towards Annandale right here. On the north side of this heavy band, we could get some enhanced snowfall rates over 1 inch per hour as this lifts northward. That should lift through St. Cloud, Melrose, Alexandria, Little Falls, Parker's Prairie, and the Brainerd Lakes area. These areas could be in store for some of the heaviest precipitation. This goes right up in toward Duluth, Cloquet as we go through into the evening hours. So Moose Lake, you've got 3 inches of snow reported. Thanks for your reports. Aitken and all the way out towards here and the Grand Rapids area. And I think Bemidji stands a fair chance at seeing some more additional snow, as will Park Rapids as this thing lifts northward. That's a quick look at the very latest nowcasting with Hutch. I will keep you updated. I'm going to leave the stream going here, so get some popcorn and throw it on, and I will send out alerts. Hey, if you have the app, did you get the alert that I was going live for this update? I hope you did. I'll send another one out before the next time I'm coming on live, but for now, we'll get you back to that, and I'll catch up on my cup of coffee here and the weather information. I can't wait to see what the European model does with our weekend storm as we head into the afternoon. And again, I'll remind you, I'm going to show you that first. It will be seen here, and there will be no new information with quality weather balloon data that goes in to start the model until about 11 o'clock tonight. So you're going to know here, you're going to know first, and then I will be publishing that on all my channels right here. Thank you for being a part of Hutch's Weather, and I'll be right back.
You're watching Hutch's Weather live. We're taking a quick breather. While Hutch prepares the next data sweep, check in from your neck of the woods in the chat. Let us know what you're seeing out your window. It's how we stay weather aware together. Stick around. Hutch is back in a moment to take your questions and track the latest alerts.
Look at what's going on and update the video here. But while I do that, let's talk more about the radar that's going on right now. So we'll get you the picture. Snowfall amount update for the Fargo-Moorhead area. 4 inches now, South Moorhead. Here's a look at what's going on near Ada and on towards Fertile. What are you seeing for snowfall amounts here? Notice that heavier band is just north of the airport towards Harwood and out towards Castleton, and it's starting to wrap up out to the West Valley City and points north towards Coop. You guys are seeing this system start to wrap up. There's still a little bit of flurry activity out here near tapping. And I'm not a kidder in steel. It looks like a few flakes are still in the area for you. The main event, big time, heavy precipitation working from Des Moines and points north. And in fact, I see some lightning down here as you go into, well, just northwesternmost Missouri out there. Woo-wee! Thunder and lightning, and then you go up through Iowa. We definitely have some very heavy rain pushing through. This pink you're seeing here, that's the freezing rain returning. Look at this band of snow pushing back into St. Cloud. All of this is going to be moving northward. This freezing band is going to set up in a spot, and it's going to pretty much stay put. So I do think Melrose, somewhere very close to St. Cloud, Little Falls, this area here, is going to see a bunch more snow with this system. As this next batch of moisture pushes its way northward, we're going to see the snowfall rates increase quite rapidly as we go through your afternoon. Hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and I've been forecasting weather like this for the last 30 years here in the upper Midwest. And, well, this storm system and another one coming our way is going to keep us very busy. Now, just to get you the latest on what's going on right now, we still have some terrible icing reports going on out in parts of Wisconsin right now. We have sleet being reported now, 1 inch of sleet. So ice is building up. Those are ice balls, transparent ice balls falling from the sky. And this is in the Spread Eagle area out there in Florence County, Wisconsin. And another measurement of sleet at over 1/2 of an inch just south of Rhinelander. So we have freezing rain that's hit over 1/3 of an inch in many parts of central Wisconsin. 4/10 of an inch now. We're approaching 1/2 inch of ice in central parts of the state of Wisconsin. And that is causing some, well, some pretty terrible conditions in that particular area. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up some photos. All right, so if you go to the app, I would appreciate you doing so and upload your measurements as you go out and about this afternoon. And again, some of this wet, heavy snow is going to compress and do the thing as we go into the afternoon. I see that, okay, so this photo that was uploaded is the last one. I forgot to approve it. So now we go back out to take a look at what's going on. So here's a look at the Hutch's website. You can go up here to the photos section or right from the app, follow along with me here in the broadcast. And this is in Moorhead, Minnesota. So the Fargo-Moorhead area is at 4 inches and approaching over that amount in some measurement areas. So this is a good representation of average. Had anywhere from 3.5 inches to 4.2 inches here in the yard across South Moorhead. So some accumulation of this snow now that we've got a layer of frozen surface. It's not melting as fast, so the accumulation is ramping up. So make sure that you go ahead and upload your reports, and thank you for all of your measurement reports across the region. So we do have the radar showing a hole in the radar data right now across parts of central Minnesota. Bemidji, you're getting a break. This activity pushing through Ada, Borup, and on up into parts of southern and south central Polk County, Minnesota as we go through, and that is about the end of that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at where this band of precipitation is heading as we head into the next couple of hours. New model data for you on that. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, this model is going to have a look. I'm going to sneak over on the other side here so you can see the active and action area with this storm. So as we go through the lunch hour and beyond, heavy snow in eastern South Dakota, so the I-29 corridor could pick up more snow. If you happen to be in areas near Ortonville and on out in towards the Morris-Benson area, notice that area getting a pretty good bout with some snow. Now notice this model is showing that freezing rain takes over and then it changes to snow. So in and around St. Cloud, we may get some rain, freezing rain, and even sleet with this system that pushes off to the east and north into northern Wisconsin. You're going to see a chance for just good old-fashioned rain shower activity in central Wisconsin, and I'm hoping that helps melt some of the ice you've had. Power outages reported in several counties in the state of Wisconsin from this system's icing going on, causing trees to snap, break, and causing power line issues as well. So by the time we get to your dinner hour between, say, 3 and 6 p.m., a band of heavy snow will be moving through parts of central Minnesota up toward the Duluth area. And then we see an enhancement of snowfall going on right here as well. So this particular model that I've been showing, because it has frequent updates, shows that this band of snow could linger in parts of northeast North Dakota into the overnight hours before finally vacating the area. Do other models support this? The one model I think that did the best with this storm system now has completed its run. Let's take a look at this. Now, we do see that this one has that secondary band showing up right here that drifts to the north and into the Grand Forks area as we go through noon. It ends in Fargo, Grand Forks by the time we get to about 19Z. Subtract 4, that's 2 p.m. So afternoon snow should be ending in North Dakota. And check this out. This one has solid icing potential working its way through, and then it starts transitioning to snow as you go through the area here from Morris, Benson, Hutchinson, Wilmer, and on in towards St. Cloud. So if we look very closely here, we can see that this area, I like this model. I think this one's going to do the best. I don't think we're going to get a lot more snow in northeast North Dakota. Let's throw out that last model. I like this one more better. It's been doing a better job with this particular storm system. However, let me make sure I'm on the, yes, it does show that after we get past the dinner hour that we do get some snow shower activity in northwest Minnesota as it goes through after dinner tonight and towards midnight. So late night snow possible for you folks in northernmost Minnesota while the next storm system takes shape out to the west. Here is the breaking news. I've been waiting. If you've been waiting with me, I've been watching this secondary storm and been waiting for more models to come out with their data on this one. Check this out. A more southerly track to the band of the heaviest snow. It does look like Fargo, Grand Forks both will have a chance at seeing snow, but this model keeping it down to the south. We're starting to see that the American model has come in. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, at least partially with this storm system. Notice the track of the low pressure system keeping the snow in southern parts of North Dakota. And making sure I've got the right model pulled up. Yeah, so just mainly light snow as you draw north and west of this quadrant, and then it gets heavy from Bismarck, Jamestown, Grand Forks, and Fargo on the American model. Gusty winds take hold as we go through Saturday afternoon, and by the time we get to the late afternoon and evening hours, this storm is exiting parts of Minnesota. By the way, northern Minnesota sees a chance at seeing more icing along a similar but more northerly track on this particular model. Do I think this is the model that I like and will be the one that pans out? No, let's take a look at the Canadian model. So the Canadian model shows the exit of our storm system, and look at this. Here we go. Friday night, icing across South Dakota, rain down on the Nebraska border, and heavy snow in the Black Hills and the Badlands. Now, as we put this into motion, notice this is a much farther southerly track, leaving out much of northern North Dakota with its bad snow forecast here. The heavy snow remains from around that area not far from New Salem, Sioux, Bismarck, Kidder County, the Highway 200 corridor. Grand Forks gets a brief shot of heavy snow with this particular model, but not nearly what they were showing before. So I do think we're starting to see Hutch's hunch unfold with these and a shift to the south with these storms here as we go through. Here's another look at a model, and this is a high resolution one. And I want to point this out because I'm showing a lot of models here because you're getting a behind the scenes look at what meteorologists do when it comes to storm systems like this. So what we're going to do is go ahead and keep a close eye on this model right here. Let me go ahead and put it up for you. Okay, so this is a second storm moving through as it works its way through. So tonight, here it will start over. Boom, this one exits. This model has too much snow, I think, for northwest parts of North Dakota. And here comes the second one, a more southerly track. This is an American model. And again, it's showing that that stormiest of stormy snow will follow and kind of contour right along the I-94 corridor. There could be some snow, but it should be a sharp cutoff up to the north the way this is looking. So even this American model is showing and painting a picture of a little bit more of a southerly track. Now I'm going to stop this so we can go ahead and put this through. I do have some concerns with this. This is a high resolution model, so it's picking up on some dynamics in smaller spaces of what's going on, both topographically with our terrain and terrain impacts locally, as well as moisture factors in the model. And you see the grays here? Those are heavy bands of snow. So you're talking Aberdeen towards the North Dakota line. Here's Sioux County and Bismarck. You see the grays? That's very heavy snow. Rapid accumulations as we go through Friday afternoon and evening will take place. It doesn't even start in Fargo until we cross into rain. And then by the time we get to the nighttime hours, heavy bands of snow from Jamestown through Gwinner, through you folks in Ellendale, Oaks, all the way out towards Richland County area eventually. So this heavy band of snow sits here for hours and hours and hours. Watch the grays right here in the central part of the Dakotas. It starts right here with heavy precipitation Friday morning, and it sits and it sits and it sits and it sits, and then finally starts exiting out and sits over Fargo from around this time period here, 9 p.m. all the way through Detroit Lakes until we get to about that, 2 p.m. the following day on Saturday. So you're looking at 9 p.m. Friday through Saturday, bands of moderate to heavy snow making their way through the area. Now, if we take a look at the snowfall potential that some of these are, I will tune and fine tune my forecast with the comparison of many models here, but what you're looking at in real time is the freshest data you're going to see between now and 11 o'clock tonight before the next round of these models comes out that are based on balloon soundings. Here's a look at the total snowfall. Remember, in Minnesota, this is going to include some of the snowfall that goes on here, but watch it accumulate. When does it start accumulating in your area? Okay, so now let's go from here. Okay, so now we start seeing the big systems start to unfold. The Black Hills, the Badlands, starting to see heavy amounts of snow by midday Friday. And then as we go in the afternoon, it gets more ridiculous. I'll point out what these numbers mean in a second. Snow starts building up Bismarck to Minot, but more so in the Bismarck area and pushing towards Jamestown as we go towards Friday night. Continuing on with this model, it moves its way into the James and Cheyenne River valleys where it unloads and uncorks a heavy band of snow. So right now, in Hutch's opinion, and this is an American model, there has been a southerly shift to the track of the heavy snow from all over North Dakota. Now we're down about a good 80 to 100 miles down to the south, and that trend could even sneak a little bit farther to the south yet, in my humble opinion. But as you take a look, Fargo sits right in this band of heavier snow, and it's not quite done yet as we go through this time frame because it could last a little bit for Minnesota into the nighttime hours. Now, let me show you exactly what these digits are talking about here with my little pointer. Oh, yuck. Okay, this is overblown, but look at the snowfall amounts. 27 inches. Okay, so that is in Lisbon, Enderlin, okay, as we go down here to Lemoore. So this doesn't mean this is Hutch's forecast. I'm not forecasting 27 inches. This is what I will be boiling down and taking a look at different models and different model averages with this system as it works its way through. So now, pardon me while I try to reset this and grab. Yeah, so now you can see the accumulation, northeast Montana, Malta, Havre, all the way out the Highway 2 corridor. It starts lightening up as you get out into Wolf Point towards Culbertson and Williston, and it takes hold here and really could dump some very healthy snow amounts from Bismarck south into the Mobridge area, and then right up into southeast North Dakota and Bemidji, all the way up into the Baudette area. But a sharp cutoff on the north side of this system is what it's looking like to me. I will not go off into too much specifics about the details on the snowfall amounts yet because it's still a little bit too early, and I do want to look at many more models as they're still just coming in. So let's see if I can. Okay, so this puppy here. Turn that off. Maybe that's what's going on. There we go. Okay, so that is a look at that. I'm going to pull back up the radar data here now for you so you could see that as we go through the evening hours, we continue to have, well, now we've got winter storm warnings for parts of Montana. Those have been hoisted already. Winter weather advisories for northeast Montana and the I-94 corridor through Glendive. But Beach and Webo, you folks, well, there's a warning there for Webo County. And then you go down towards Baker and Ekalaka, there is a winter storm warning in those areas. Winter storm watches for most of North Dakota. I do think we're going to see the heavier band of snow with this. So what's going to happen now as we go into the night tonight and maybe even early morning hours tomorrow as the models refine the forecast, some of these areas will become winter storm warnings. Others will become winter weather advisories. Usually advisories are issued where lower snowfall amounts are anticipated. So again, with our storm right now, radar shows a healthy band, Fargo, Castleton, out towards Enderlin, all the way through Ada and Mahnomen, Nadawash, Foston, and Bagley. As you go out towards the Bemidji area, there's another band heading your way. This is going to be ending between now and 2 p.m. here in the Red River Valley. There could be some late night snow that models are showing up here near Grafton and on out towards Roseau County. You folks in Kitson County, Cavalier County, and Pembina County could see a little bit of snow as we go through the overnight hours. Here's a heavy band of snow setting up shop, Wilmer to St. Cloud right now, and that is what's going on. Now, your road report for the travel home looks like this. As we take a look at Minnesota roads, what you're going to notice here is that we do have some impacts. The pink roads are completely covered with snow. So starting up north, we must have gotten a healthy dose of red lakes area snow. Here's Shooks, and there's no kidding, those flakes are huge. Those are like the size of my face. So we got some big conglomerate style snowflakes falling up there, accumulating rapidly. Now, as we look off into the Beltrami area, south of there, there's some pretty good snow. But right now on Highway 9, there is some iciness on the Highway 9 corridor roads. Highway 32, Erskine area, as you're going north-south through parts of Minnesota there, you got sludge on the road there. That's some very heavy, wet, slushy snow that has hit that particular region. Heading into the I-94 and Highway 10 corridors in Minnesota, blue means partially covered with ice or snow. Here's Lake Park. We've got a nice little bit of melting going on there. Now, I do want to check in on the St. Cloud area, Sauk Rapids, as well as you folks out here. This is the Richmond area, Highway 23. It looks very wet. There was ice on this, and now it looks like that's melting a little bit. That's a good sign. There was indications on the radar here that near Wilmer, we have some good sized snowflakes coming down. Now here we can see snow on the side of the road for sure, and we do have some images here showing some wet road surfaces. The next band of moisture is heading to this area first, and now the Twin Cities on the south and the east side here seeing some heavier rain showers. So as we go towards Cottage Grove here, we're seeing some pretty good wet pavement there. Now, as we take a peek into Wisconsin, the conditions there are really terrible with the icing. So do keep in mind that the Wisconsin roads are very tough in areas where we have the central part of the state. Even as you go out of the metro area of the Twin Cities through Hudson and travel the I-94 corridor, we have between a tenth of an inch and 1/2 of an inch of ice reported, and we have freezing rain accumulating to 1/2 inch to an inch up here on the north side of Wisconsin. That's causing trouble. We have power outages just off to the east of the Green Bay area, have been reported throughout the day. Here is a look at Green Bay right now as we take you right into town, and we do not see, it looks very wet, but temperatures cold enough for some ice there. We were talking about a little bit of a warm up down in central parts of the state, and that hopefully will help with some of the ice on the roads. What's this asterisk saying here? Wisconsin 34 closed at Victory Road because of a disabled vehicle. So we do have some problems going on here. Disabled vehicles going on in this particular area, and that stream is not available. I wonder if we're having some signal problems here at Stevens Point. All of these streams are not available right now. There are definitely some problems going on here in Wisconsin. Could be due to power outages at some of these sites. Check it out. This camera is crying tears of icicles. US 51 County North at County N. And that is what we have there. Icy roads, very slippery conditions on Wisconsin roads for today. South Dakota, I do want to point out the I-29 corridor will likely be seeing a little bit more in the way of snow and ice. So the northeast quadrant of the state will have the best chance at still seeing impacts from tonight's weather. This is a look at Sisseton, and I'm telling you what, that's some rain taking and falling onto the cold road surfaces there. So that's going to cause some very icy spots there. Let's go south towards Watertown and see what we're getting there. We do have very wet looking interstate there. That's kind of a good sign that the rain is melting some of the ice and snow on the road surface. But keep in mind, you could run into some ice anywhere along this pattern or path here with temperatures close to freezing. And you can see the temperatures on these little plots here, 26 degrees as you go into northern and eastern parts of the state of South Dakota, and 30 to 31 degrees as we go down towards Watertown, where we do have this US 212 view of some very schlucky That's a meteorological term. It's a highly technical term. Schlucky, Altamont, look at that. Reduced visibility, some fog and snow fog going on there, and icy roads reported. So our region pretty rough and tumble for travel. We are seeing some improvement to the conditions out in the western Dakotas, more green showing up on the map, meaning seasonal travel here. Snow wrapping up in the eastern part of the state, but I do think there will be more through around the 2 o'clock hour. Watch out on Interstate 29. After that, we should see the snow ending, and we'll get a nice little break between now and Friday evening in the Red River Valley counties of North Dakota before the main event happens as we go into Friday night and Saturday, big time snow. So that is a look at your weather right now. This will be my last update that I'm doing. We're going to shut down this live stream, and I will be back with more as we go through the day with updated forecasts for snow. But you saw it here first. We have some pretty significant stuff to talk about. A shift to the south of round 2, but not very far south. We're talking southern North Dakota, eastern North Dakota, northern South Dakota, and northern Minnesota getting hit with some significant snowfall potential as we go Friday into Saturday on top of this storm, which tonight is going to continue to wreak havoc on parts of southern Minnesota with ice, and it will continue to wreak havoc in parts of central Minnesota with this ice mixing with and changing over to snow now as we go into the evening hours somewhere very near this zone that you're seeing right here, accumulating ice, sleet, and snow will carry us into the evening hours. And then overnight, some of this moisture could get lobbed back up over the top in the northern parts of Minnesota, which means some light snow for your area. In review, this is Hutch's graphic I've been using throughout the morning hours. How much additional snow can we expect? Boom, we've got it. We've got the 2 to 5 inches in the Fargo area. With 4 inches measured in Moorhead now, and the flakes are still coming down very steady. It's not heavy snow. It's just light to maybe even moderate snow at times, but it is accumulating. I have 4 inches in South Moorhead, and we do have that snow band heading up into Mahnomen County, Norman County. That's going to continue. So 2 to 5 inches were expected to be added on top of what we had this morning, with some areas getting the plus sign. That would be more akin to you folks right here along this boundary with the rain snow line here, and then on up into the North Shore. That's this storm system, and I will update everything with round number 2 that'll be coming. So for that, you can always check the latest on hutchesweather.com for your forecast information. And I got to tell you what, this second wave is going to be a head scratcher, but guess what? I'll have the very latest for you coming up a little bit later. So don't forget to check back and use the app. Search Hutch's Weather in the App Store today.
This has been a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wait, you forgot the new app. You're right!